last night, it was a night of firsts. Deep into right field, back to the wall, and it is gone. That's a home run.
Congratulations to Jared Hoying, his first ever big league home run. And look at that smile right there, a moment that he will never, ever forget.
For Jared Hoying, the swing, the trot, the jubilation. For Bibbins Dirks, his first major league strikeout. And for the kid from Texas, his first win in his home state. These moments will be forever etched in their memory, and those moments all added up to the Rangers' 8th straight victory. Today, Banny's crew is in search of number 9. It's the finale against the Phillies as the Rangers look for back-to-back-to-backs in Arlington. Welcome into Texas Rangers baseball presented by AT&T. It is the end of what has been an incredible homestand for the Texas Rangers. They have not yet lost on this homestand and looking for a sweep this afternoon of the visiting Philadelphia Phillies. Interleague baseball at Globe Life Park as we put an end to a very good homestand for the Rangers. Welcome in, everybody. Great to be with you this afternoon. I'm Dave Raymond with CJ Nitkowski. Rangers not only have run through this homestand unbeaten, they are on a Major League best 8-game winning streak. Yesterday, perhaps the most convincing of the wins during this streak, and they got contributions from a lot of spots in the lineup. Without
a doubt, and maybe the biggest surprise was Jared Hoying last night. He's getting an opportunity right now where Carlos Gomez on the DL, and he came up big last night. 4 for 4, but maybe the biggest moment for him personally was the home run, first of his big league career. Certainly Jeff Bannister thrilled to be getting that kind of production at a kind of a surprise bat in Jared Hoying. On the other side, Shin-Chu Chu has been doing it for years, and he had a nice night as well. 3 for 4 with the 3 RBIs and a run scored. He has been swinging a very hot bat. And you look at these two guys combined, 7 for 8, 5 RBIs, and 4 runs scored from the 8th spot and the 1 spot in the lineup. The Rangers getting it from everybody last night.
Chu back in the lineup again today in that leadoff spot. Hoying, of course, back in there as well after that great night. This streak, though, this team has put up some really interesting numbers.
Yeah, without a doubt. Anytime you go through a winning streak, it is always fun to start to dig in the numbers a little bit and see what the team has done well. See the batting average there. They've been running the bases really well. But perhaps the most important right now for me is that bullpen ERA. And ERA does not tell the entire story, but the big picture there is that the bullpen has been throwing well. We know it's a little bit of an issue early on in the season. And so to see some stability from the relievers is certainly a great sign.
The defense has been very good as well. You saw there just 1 error during this streak, so it's always about pitching. Let's look in today's starters.
It makes the world go round, Dave. You know that. But here today, when we look at the 2 starters, Nick Pivetta will be looking for his first big league win. Martin Perez has thrown the ball well, better, I think, than his record reflects. You see him at 1-5. In his last start, he went 6 1/3. That is his longest outing of the season. And now he's coming off of what is going to be 6 days rest. So longevity, getting deep into the game, I got to believe, for Martin Perez will be a big goal today.
A lot of firsts yesterday, not the least of which was Austin Bibbins Dirks making his big league debut. A special night here at Globe Life Park last night. And Austin is going to be in our spotlight when we come back. AT&T Internet. Visit AT&T.com/keepcalm to learn more. And by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. All right, just about set to go this afternoon. Final game of this 3-game series. Well, last night was such a big night. Andrew Kashner, his first win in his home state. Jared Hoying, his first big league home run. But CJ, let's turn the Shiner light blonde spotlight on this man, Austin Bibbins-Dirks.
Austin was great last night, recording his first strikeout. Over, he let a run too. That's all right. It's going to happen. A line out. It is his first inning in the big leagues and a long time waiting for the 32-year-old, his wife Leah there. A big exhale at the end. But what a great moment for Austin Bibbins-Dirks. I mean, it was just a great night at the ballpark, right? I mean, think about Jared Hoying's first home run. Austin gets in his first game in the big leagues. These are things you just do not forget. He did allow that one run. It was kind of awkward, too, the way that run scored on a ball that kind of bleeded into center field and took a funny hop. He doesn't care. Listen, he is on the board. He's got a Fangraphs page now, a baseball reference page, all of these things that actually have major league stats a part of them, no longer just the minor league ones. He is in the book, as we say, and that is some great news for Austin. He's got to be enjoying it. I got to believe a pretty busy night for him last night. Friends and family very excited for him.
Wow, really special evening here last night. Rangers wake up today on the right side of 500 for the first time this year. 21-20. And now with a chance to sweep this homestand as we take a look at the starting lineup for the Phillies today. 14-23. Cesar Hernandez, Odubel Herrera, and Aaron Altair at the top of the order. Again, all the young guys. Joseph Blanco Saunders, who has done well in this ballpark in his career. Franco, Andrew Knapp getting the start behind the plate. And then Freddie Galvis, the shortstop, rounding things out for Philadelphia. We're underway. Strike one delivered to Cesar Hernandez.
We'll take a look at the arsenal here for Martin Perez. A lot of two-seam fastballs. We know that about him, with good velocity, generating ground balls. The changeup is the first go-to off-speed pitch. And that's the key really for him, I think. When we see that really good changeup from Martin Perez, we've seen him use it this year to get himself out of big jams when he needs to get outs. I think that's really one of the big keys for him. As the more I get to watch him pitch, the consistency of that changeup really dictates how the outing will go.
Well, he's done a really fine job in the leadoff spot for the Phillies. Cesar Hernandez yesterday on a couple of times with a base hit and a walk. Great speed. And Perez gets him to foul one off, so the count stays 1-2.
I mentioned this about Austin Bibbins-Dirks yesterday. I just want to kind of finish it up. Remember, we talked about how Baseball Reference keeps track of players and what number they are. It is 18,974th for Austin Bibbins-Dirks. So he is the 18,974th man to put on a big league uniform. Be a good ATM code, probably, right? Gotta be careful. So that's to be a good one for him.
Ooh, that
good
is,
password.
yeah, I like that.
So don't do it. And no, that's not mine.
2-2 pitch, and Hernandez pops it up. Foul ground, first base side. A lot of wind today, but Rua manages it well, and there's our first out of the ball game. All right, well, you got to understand, there is a lot of chatter and a lot of excitement about the outing yesterday for Austin Bibbins-Dirks. And for a little more on that, let's check in with Emily Jones.
Yeah, I asked Austin today if he had any trouble getting to sleep last night. He said, yeah, it was pretty tough. I didn't sleep a ton. I tried to return the more than 100 text messages and phone calls that he received. I asked him where that first strikeout ball was. He said that Andrew Kashner actually has it, and he's going to do something special with it, put it, the jersey, maybe some game tickets, some memorabilia from the night along with that ball, get it all put together for him, and then present it to Austin when it's ready.
That's pretty cool.
Without a doubt, good teammates understand that. They can appreciate it. Doesn't matter how long you played this game. I think every veteran remembers that day, knows how important it is, and so Andrew Kashner wants to pass that along to Austin and give him a nice memento to have. They can put in the office and keep for the rest of his life. And listen, it's for both of those guys, even for Jared Hoying yesterday, right? Hitting that first home run, that you remember. You will always talk about. People will always ask you about that first time you took the mound, the first time you stepped in the box, first time you hit a home run, strikeout, whatever it may be. These are lifelong memories that not only for him but for his entire family.
Another pop-up, this one back out of play. And the count of ball and 2 strikes on Odubel Herrera.
I remember people asked me about that first appearance. I said, you know, I don't even know where I was. You know, you're just sitting
Well,
there.
I thought you just said you never forget.
Well, you know, I knew where I was, but I felt like I didn't know where I was. Like I walked off, like I was sweating like crazy. I got to throw an inning of relief before I made my first start, and you're just like, what's going on here? And I was young. I was only 22 and only a year removed from college. But you're sitting there and you're like, Deion Sanders is my center fielder. Barry Larkin's my short. So I was just playing with these guys in video games like 12 months ago. And all of a sudden, it's craziness. And I think for Austin, even though it was a long time coming, it's got to be somewhat of a similar experience.
Herrera strikes out swinging. 2 gone here in the first inning. So Martin Perez getting ahead of guys here early.
And a good breaking ball for Martin Perez. Now, he has not faced a lot of lefties this year, so the numbers are a little bit sideways. The batting average against coming into this one against lefties was over 400, but I don't think that's necessarily really indicative of who Martin is. Last year, those numbers were fantastic, but to get those numbers down, I think that really good breaking ball is something that he has to show to those lefties.
So now the third place hitter, Aaron Altair, and he takes strike 1. Altair, you can see very good numbers in the first 30 games of the season for him. He was on a couple of times yesterday. Had a base hit in the first inning. He was hit by a pitch in the 9th. And ended up scoring a run in that 9th inning. But by and large, the Rangers have done a really good job of keeping him out of the equation for the Phillies as he puts this one into left field, a base hit.
We'll take a single with 2 outs, and let's take a look now at the Rangers defense, which is delivered to you by New Braunfels Convention and Visitors Bureau. Excuse me. Delano DeShields, Jared Hoying, Nomar Mazara in that outfield today. Only sticking out maybe a little bit different. Of course, Ryan Rule will be getting the start at first base. Robinson Chirinos behind the plate. Doesn't count for defense, but Shin-Soo Choo is in that lineup, of course, as a designated hitter. But those are the guys that will be getting it done today behind Martin Perez.
Well, he deals with a runner at first base. And his first pitch to Tommy Joseph finds the outside corner.
That curveball looks really good here so far for Martin Perez, and it is the pitch that he uses the least amount in his repertoire. We showed it before he took the mound, just 9% of the time, but he's thrown a couple of really good ones here today.
Good fastball for a strike. And the count 0-2.
Got to be heads up here with Robinson Chirinos behind the plate, and he thought that maybe Altair was getting a little bit aggressive. So the back pick there, not in time, but always a good idea to let those runners know you're not afraid to back pick.
Perez to the plate 0-2, and that one swung on and missed. I thought maybe Joseph perhaps got a piece of it. He did not. A strikeout is the final out of the inning, and Martin Perez sharp in his half of the first. And now here come the Rangers. Well, underway this afternoon, Rangers and Phillies. We go to the bottom of the first inning. Time for our Southwest batting order for the Rangers. Chu leading off in that DH position. And Elvis Andrus, who has really been just so consistent, especially during this hot stretch for the Rangers. Mazara Chirinos at cleanup today. Odor batting fifth. Rule gets to start at first base. Gallo Hoying after his first big league homer yesterday. And Delano to Shields in left field. That's ninth. So ready to go on the bottom of the first. Nick Pivetta is just a little bit wide with ball one.
And here's the arsenal for Pivetta. You see four-seam fastballs, lots of them, 61%. Not afraid at all to come at hitters with that heat. 93 to 96 miles an hour is what you will see today with that fastball.
Chu sends this one to the left side, but foul, and the count 1-1.
He's got himself 5 left-handers that he's going to have to deal with today. He actually has been stronger. Now, it's only 3 starts for him into his career, but the numbers are better against lefties than they are righties. 273 versus lefties, 405 versus righties so far through 3 starts.
Behind Chu, 2-1. And another foul ball will even the count. Well, we talked about Chu in our open today. Big night yesterday. 3 hits, a sac fly, drove in 3, scored a run. Now, he was one of many yesterday as the Rangers amassed a season best 17 hits in the 9-3 win. The offense was rolling last night. Holds off and takes strike 3 called. So Pivetta with a punch out to start his afternoon.
And we'll take a look at the defense here for the Philadelphia Phillies. Behind Pivetta, Altair, Herrera, and Saunders in the outfield there. Blanco getting the start at third. Galvis Hernandez and Tommy Joseph at first. And Knapp will be behind the plate tonight. Andrew Knapp, first start for him this series, and looks like an awesome mustache in that picture.
Reno 911.
I haven't seen him. You think he still has it, or is that a spring training picture?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll get a shot today, though. I can.
You know, some guys will do that deal, right, where it's like, hey, let's have some fun. I know when media day is, and have a little fun with the hair. We'll see. We'll get a look in there.
It looks like he's got a little something going.
All right. So it wasn't a joke. He's being serious.
Andrus shoots it foul out of play in the count 0-2. So Elvis batting in the 2-hole today, as he has been with regularity of late. You have seen him all over the lineup this year for Jeff Bannister, but it does seem like Banny has settled in for the most part to a look that he feels real comfortable with these days. And part of that is Andrus batting second. The other part of it is either one of his catchers in the cleanup spot. And today it just happens to be Robinson Chirinos.
Robbie got that opportunity, was it his last game, right, where he delivered, if I remember correctly, in the 4 spot.
Popped up first base side and handled for out number 2 by Joseph. Yeah, we saw Chirinos in the leadoff, or rather the cleanup spot. I guess that was in Saturday's game. The Rangers won 6-5 and had a base hit, scored a run, walked.
Not a bad day. Got on twice. 4 plate appearances, you'll take that. But yeah, I mean, a lot of flexibility here for Jeff Bannister. We've seen it throughout the year where he's mixing and matching, always trying to find the right combination. It could be based on how guys are swinging the bat. It could be the opposing pitcher, and for a guy like Pivetta who's young, who doesn't necessarily have a long track record, then you kind of go off the stuff a little bit, maybe, if you're using that pitcher as part of the factor. But the thing that sticks out, I think, to me the most with this kind of stuff is that guys seem comfortable with it for the most part, right? There was a time where hitters really wanted to be in kind of one spot pretty consistently, and if they weren't there, you hear some grumblings about it. But I think baseball has done a really nice job of changing that culture a little bit, and the guys have adapted really well and saying, you know what, it's not always going to be the way that you would like it. Even if you're an established guy, you may get moved around the lineup with some more frequency, and certainly Jeff Bannister has done that this year.
Mazzaro waits on a 2-0 and he takes strike one. Nomar at 259 for the year, but you can see his 7-game hitting streak, longest of the year, and he's been tearing it up. Yesterday, a couple of walks, a double, and he's ahead here 3-1. And he's done a great job of working the count a little more lately and taking those walks. (3-1). And this one shot out toward left field. That one gets down. It will go to the wall. Mazzara with an easy 2-out double. So it's an 8-game hitting streak for Nomar.
Really incredible to watch Nomar Mazzara and how he has been swinging the bat lately, and you're seeing a lot of this, taking, as we say, what the pitcher gives you, and it's a pitch away, and a pretty good one from Pivetta, a ball that is down with some good movement. And look at Nomar just keep his head down, a little bit of a shorter swing, and just driving this ball with some thump into that left center field gap. And that is a sign of a mature hitter who understands the swing, understands how to handle these big league pitchers. Very nice at bat there from Nomar.
So he's in scoring position for the cleanup hitter, Robinson Chirinos. Chirinos with 5 home runs and 12 RBIs this year. And why those two numbers, because they're counting numbers, they don't jump off the page at you. It's because he doesn't have as many at-bats. Chirinos the backup to Jonathan Lucroy, but we talked about an on-base percentage of .400, a slugging percentage of .659. So he's not just been hitting the ball, he's been hitting for real power when he has had the opportunity. Pivetta from the stretch, and he's very high. It's 3-0, so in danger of walking Chirinos and having to deal instead with Rougned Odor, who waits on deck.
Not only is Robinson Chirinos having that really nice year offensively, he's doing a great job behind the plate, and obviously you got to have the arms to work with and make things happen. But the ERA when he is in games right now for the Rangers pitchers, 3.20, the best he has ever had in his career as a catcher.
First inning with the Rangers threatening. They've been getting out early in these games lately, especially against the Phillies. Chirinos hits it foul out of play, and it's a full count. An 8-game winning streak for the Rangers, and we've mentioned it. It is the longest winning streak in the big leagues this year, tied with the Yankees. Did it a little bit earlier. Rangers trying to win every game on this homestand. If they can win today, they will accomplish a feat they've done on just one other occasion in the franchise's history. And this ball is hit to third and caught by Blanco. Well, he positioned perfectly, inning over. Rangers leave a man, and we'll go to the second inning, no score.
Today's Texas Rangers special.
these two clubs, and we move it along to the second. Our power stats today brought to you by Kubota. And Martin Perez, he has been Mr. Double Play since the beginning of last year. 44 ground ball double plays since the start of last season, and that's most of the bigs.
Yeah, he has absolutely crushed it when it comes to the moments of getting out of an inning or getting 2 outs with 1 pitch. And check this out. I mean, what a great matchup right here now against the Philadelphia Phillies, who have the 3rd most double plays that they've hit into as an offense, or at least I should say tied for 3rd in the National League. So that's some good news. Nice combination if Martin finds himself in that spot. Well, they hit 4 yesterday, right? 4 ground ball double plays that the Phillies hit into yesterday. The Rangers actually hit into 3 themselves. But yeah, perfect matchup here for Martin if he finds himself in that spot.
Bouncer along that 3rd baseline foul. 1-1 to Andres Blanco.
And what's a little bit unusual about that, I think, for Martin is that he has a very good ground ball rate, very respectable, 47%, slightly above league average, but it's not one of these dominating ground ball rates that's, you know, up near 60%, right? You see some of these guys that just have these crazy ground ball rates, and you would expect those guys to lead kind of in double plays. But what he has done, and from watching him closely this year, is he finds a way to make the big pitch in the big moment. He's been really, really good at that. And I think that's part of the reason why we see so many great double plays turned behind him in those moments.
1-2, and I think he just got another strikeout. He did. Blanco goes around, and that is the 3rd strikeout this afternoon for Perez.
How about this? Another breaking ball. This one down, well located ahead in the count. Try to get an opposing hitter in swing mode, and that's exactly where Blanco was, and he could not hold back. Nice breaking ball. Very good use of the breaking ball here so far from Martin Perez.
So the 1 away, Michael Saunders, the right fielder, and no appeal on that check swing. Tom Hallion down there at 3rd base. Nope, didn't go.
Did you by any chance see the end? We're going to go see the Tigers here pretty soon, but the end of the Tigers and the Orioles game yesterday, it was ended on a called check swing.
Oh,
C.B. Buckner was down at 1st base. Manny Machado definitely did not swing at that pitch.
Oh no.
And he rang him up and the game was over.
1-2 the count on Saunders. Yeah, that's a.
He actually
that's a rough one.
he actually asked for the appeal. Like there was some conversation you could tell behind home plate about whether or not he went, and Machado actually pointed down to first, like, yeah, go ahead, check with the first base umpire. I didn't swing, and they were like, yep, banged him. Game was over. Crazy.
Perez delivers this one, sent out toward right field. That'll drop in, base hit. Saunders out to 2nd base. He's thinking about 3. And here will come the relay throw. Saunders in with a slide, and he has a 1-out triple.
Well, first thought, you're thinking this is probably a double off the bat. As you see Nomar Mazara and Jared Hoying kind of talking this out a little bit. We'll see the pitch here. Breaking ball that ends up hanging over the plate a little bit more. Martin was trying to get that ball down and away, but you see where Jared Hoying is, right? He is shaded actually towards left field, so he's got a long way to go to be able to get to this ball. And you see there just took a little bit of time, and Michael Saunders decided to get a little aggressive, and he is in there safely for the 1-out triple.
So the Phillies have a man at 3rd and only 1 out. And the first pitch to Raquel
How about this?
Franco.
Infield in, 1st or 2nd inning, I should say.
Yeah, that's interesting.
A little aggressive here, I got to believe. But again, you go off of the hitter. You got Michael Franco, who's struggling at 213 this year. Does have a little bit of power. The Rangers feel like they have a chance to cut this run off. They're going to take it.
Fouled away in the count 1-1. So a couple of hits early for the Phillies. Altair had a base hit in the 1st inning, but was left there. And now Saunders with that triple. See him chatting with Juan Samuel down there at 3rd base. 1-1. Another foul off to the right side. You see what the Rangers have done to opposing hitters when they get runners in scoring position. These Rangers starters have just found a way. You talked about making big pitches. Well, a 164 batting average against with runners in scoring position. That is stingy. One-two. And this one lifted to center field. Hoying going back. That ball carrying well. Hoying to the fence and will leap to make the catch. Saunders tags. He'll score easily on the deep sacrifice fly by Franco. Phillies lead 1-0.
Well, Martin Perez was trying to run a fastball up and in here to Maikel Franco, and unfortunately did not get it in there all the way and allowed Franco to get those hands extended. He squared this ball up pretty well. Hoying does a nice job of finding the wall and timing his leap. It was windy today too, so that's a pretty tricky play out there. You're sitting there battling the wind. When he was looking at it at one point, but the body language was telling us that that ball actually was going to leave the ballpark. But you have to make zero assumptions out there today, and it's been like this the last couple of days where it's been pretty windy. You got to make sure you watch that and track that ball all the way through, and Jared Hoying did just that.
So we've seen, of course, the wind coming in from the same direction. As we look at our flags way up high and coming out of the southeast. Very stiff breeze again today, as usual. It's Andrew Knapp. Watch his ball too. But the flight of the ball inside the ballpark oftentimes can be different day to day. Those flags look almost the same every game, and yet the patterns inside the ballpark, it feels to me, sometimes do change. And I say that because that ball to center field really appeared to carry.
It did, and we saw this, I think, even last night, where it changed throughout the game. We saw some balls that were dying to right field, and we saw ones carrying a little bit later. So yeah, you never completely know. I always wondered, and I was thinking about this last night, why not some flags that are a little bit lower on the outfield ball? Just some small ones.
The roller to shortstop. Knapp grounds out, and it ends the inning. But the Phillies get on the board. They lead 1-0. Bottom of the second. It'll be Odor, Ryan Rua, and Joey Gallo when we come back. Just out of the gates this afternoon. Hey, the Rangers take on the Tampa Bay Rays. That is the Tampa Bay Rays on Memorial Day, Monday, May 29th. Pretty sure. First 15,000 fans to the ballpark get a patriotic Rangers cap courtesy of Carter Blood Care. You can get your tickets at TexasRangers.com or by calling 972-RANGERS.
That's not the only thing that's going on May 29th. That's a big one because the Rangers are also honoring the Army with a special pregame ceremony. But the first 1,000 tickets purchased by visiting Rangers TexasRangers.com. They have this awesome Army hat. Have you seen it? We showed it the other night, didn't we? That is a sweet shirt now, or excuse me, sweet hat. But there's only 1,000 of them available. And as cool as that patriotic Rangers cap is, and it's a cool one, I want the Army one. But
I think it is, like you say, limited to just 1,000.
Yeah.
And I believe it's a special ticket you have to purchase to get that.
Yep. TexasRangers.com/military days. That's how you get there. But that is a cool looking. I mean, listen, we see it now where all the teams are able to take their hats and they'll put them in different colors, but it is in the Army black and gold. It's cool. It is a cool looking hat for sure. So if you get one, I'm going to steal it from you.
Fred was wearing it in the elevator earlier today.
I'll just take it from him now. Now, Fred actually, I learned today, does run the elevator here at Globe Life Park, served both in the Army and the Air Force, which is really incredible. We certainly appreciate the great service that he has given to our country. But 2 military branches, that's fantastic.
Yeah. Fred's the man. The 2-1 to Odor, and he holds off on a pitch a little bit high for ball 3. Pivetta has fallen behind a number of Rangers hitters here early. Now it hasn't hurt him, at least not in the first inning. Mazara doubled off of him but was left there. Odor, the 5th batter of the game, already the 3rd 3-ball count for Pivetta, and it's now a full count. He struck out 2 in the bottom of the 1st, and for Pivetta, his 17th strikeout. Now he'd only thrown 14 2/3 innings coming into today, so he's been getting a lot of swing and miss. Odor pops this one up, third base side, and that is a long run for Blanco and into a slide on the warning track. Makes a really nice play.
Man, you ain't kidding. This is a great play, and this is one where the shift created this play because he was so far over toward the shortstop position. I mean, look at him. He's playing straight up shortstop right now, so he's got a long way to run, loses his hat pretty quickly because of the wind, but again, concentrating on that ball, knowing it's going to be moving around. And when you're playing third base, you never have to run that far to your right, so that's a pretty unique play there for Blanco, who does a really nice job of getting there, sliding, and making the catch.
So 1 gone, and here's Ryan Rua. And Rua shoots this one to center field. Herrera coming on. He can't get to it. That's a base hit. Second Rangers hit this afternoon. And they have a base runner in this 2nd inning.
We know Ryan Rule plays sporadically, so the idea of getting deep into a bat, not ideal. Jumps on the first fastball that he sees, and swing looks really nice right there. Takes it up the middle, and 1 out base hit for Ryan Rua.
Now he'll take his lead. Joey Gallo at the left side. And watches strike 1. Boy, Rua was kind of fooling around off first base there. He bluffed towards second. Looked like he lost his footing momentarily. Kind of slipped and then went scrambling back toward the bag. It was right as Pivetta was pitching. Yeah, and I think part of it was just to see if Pivetta was even paying attention. He wasn't, but now is. So that definitely got his attention. Rua runs pretty well. This one in the dirt, but he's not moving.
We know this about Joey Gallo, right? We know that he hits for power. We know that they're swing and miss. Talk about it a bunch, but check this out. So he has 17 extra base hits this year. It's 68% of his hits have gone for extra bases. It's the most in Major League Baseball. As far as now, obviously, he would like to have some more hits and love to see that average come up a little bit more. But Joey Gallo has been slugging when he is putting the ball in play, when he is getting his hits. He has been slugging at a higher percentage than anybody else in the game.
Well, gets ahead here, 2-1. Bottom of the 2nd, 1-0 Philadelphia.
Is that much longer before they get that roof?
A little warm today.
3 more years.
It's just starting. CJ,
I know.
it's just starting.
I know Texas has got hotter than this. And how about Ryan Rua over the course of his career? Never ever has been caught.
Well, I do think just because, again, some of these numbers for some guys are what we call counting numbers. So he hasn't amassed a ton of stolen bases, but is that just showed you right there? He's chosen his spots well, and he does run a lot better, I think, than people would give him credit just at first blush. Full count now to Gallo.
Yeah, and he's sneaky quick, but I think what it tells you, he's a smart base runner, right? It's not, they're not going to ask him to do it often, but when he does it well, and that's that's a testament to putting the work in as well. I think some guys, okay, well, you're not a Blazer, you're not going to steal that much. It's very easy to get lazy and not work on your base stealing, but you look at those numbers, and it's obvious for Ryan Rua when he does get the call, he makes it count.
And there he goes, strike 3 called to throw to second in time, and they throw him out. So caught stealing on the strike him out, throw him out, double play. Just like that, the inning is over. And we'll go to the third this afternoon, 1-0 Philadelphia.
The Phillies won nothing as we welcome you back to Globe Life Park in time for today's Progressive Fan of the Game, and it is none other than Vernell Walls, who is 100 years old and here to cheer on the Rangers today. Vernell, you a big Rangers fan?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Do what?
I said, are you a big Rangers fan?
Oh, yes, very much so.
You watch all the games?
I watch it every night, and I don't go to bed till it's over.
That is what we like to hear, Vernell. Here you are with the Progressive Fan of the Game bag. Guys, that's some dedication right there. I admire it.
Man, that is awesome.
And my condolences to Vernell. Has to listen to your voice every night before she goes to bed. That can't be that great for her. That is incredible, man. 101, is that what Emily said?
100.
100. Oh, I wish.
Yeah.
That's awesome. We certainly appreciate her being here and watching the games. Can't go to bed without listening to the final out, the call.
You got to. Yeah, you absolutely need closure on any given day. I'm the same way. You can't just shut it off.
I mean, I got to imagine too, probably not even right to bed after those couple of walk-offs that we had, right?
Oh, man.
Your awesome calls that you had there. I mean, nobody goes to bed right after that.
Right.
I'm being serious, man. You nailed those. Those were great. It's exciting moments. It's been a fun run here for the Rangers. I mean, getting it done, but not just the 8-game winning streak, but the way that they have done it at times. All those come from behind wins that we saw early in the streak, and then the walk-offs.
Well, that's what's been a little weird the last couple of days, right? Is that they've won both games in rather conventional fashion. Yesterday, 9-3. They won the opener of this series on Tuesday, 5-1. And there was no drama in the 7th, 8th, or 9th inning.
Yeah, it's okay. Every once in a while, it's okay to have a non-heart attack win. I'm sure Jeff Bannister certainly appreciates it, right?
There's no question. Battle here by Freddie Galvis, the 7th pitch of the at-bat to him, and that is called strike 3. 4 strikeouts already this afternoon for Martin Perez.
Martin continuing to shine here as you go through the full repertoire. One time through the lineup, but you see this pitch here, just a well-located fastball, and thank you, Robinson Torino. So look how well he receives this ball. Might have been borderline, but see that just that slight movement. You know, the key that we paid so much attention now to pitch framing is just trying to be as quiet as you can and give that home plate umpire a good look at the pitch.
So now second time through the order, Cesar Hernandez. Popped up in the first, 0 for 1. Corners are in with Hernandez up there. Even though we have not seen him attempt a bunt yet, it does not matter what portion of the game you're in or what the situation may be. He is always a threat to bunt early in the count. Now they back up. 1-2 the count.
Interesting here. Keep an eye on Martin Perez. We have seen 11 curveballs from him already today. It's right at 27% of his pitches. Last year he threw that pitch just 11% of the time. This year it's at 9% of the time. So the usage has not been very high, but there is something about for him this Philadelphia Phillies lineup that he has seen that him and Robinson Trinos had talked about, and they said that at least they early on that they wanted to introduce that curveball, and he has used it very effectively today.
4 strikeouts so far. And a bouncer first base. Knocked down by Rua. He'll hustle it to Perez, covering, and he gets there just in time. Well, once that was bobbled, there was a sliver of opportunity for Hernandez, but the Rangers got him.
Yeah, Larry Bowe will get on the phone right now and just double check and make sure that they believe that this indeed was an out. And it's a nice job by Martin Perez. As a pitcher, you do not stop. You never make the assumption that the first baseman is going to field that ball clean. You keep going. Pretty close. I think they got him. Martin straight to the bag right there. Let's see that foot. Yep, I think just in time.
So 2 away. And brings up Odubel Herrera, who struck out in the first inning. Herrera, a left-handed hitter, and they've got a number of lefties in there today. A lot of switch hitters. Hernandez, Andres Blanco, Andrew Knapp, Freddie Galvis, all switch hitters. But they did not shy away from a couple of left-handed hitters today. Guys like Herrera and Michael Saunders, who had the triple last inning. Oh, 0-2 the count.
There's that really good breaking ball from Martin. You know, and I wonder, part of it is probably how it feels, right? A lot of times for a pitcher, yeah, you may have, your steady repertoire and how you use it, but there are certain days that some pitchers are going to feel better than others, and right now the curveball seems to be that pitch for Martin Perez.
Perez already with 7 swings and misses so far, so he's been deceptive. And it's 1-2 on Herrera. A run on 2 hits for Philadelphia. No runs on 2 hits for the Rangers so far early on this afternoon. Herrera, a guy who was a Rule 5 draftee out of the Rangers system in December of 2014, coming off a real big year last year. Hit 15 home runs last season, drove in 49 for the Phillies. Played pretty much every day. 286 batting average, he stole a lot of bases, and they like his play. Now, we did see yesterday the Rangers ran on him a little bit in center field. That arm is not among the strongest you'll see in center, but he covers some ground and has done a real nice job at the plate.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, the one guy so far of this young group of players that they've decided to try to lock up to that team-friendly deal. He signed through 2021. Like, what in the world?
That was looked like a cricket swing.
I mean, you say, you know, 2 strikes, try to fight it off. I don't know what's going on. What happened here? Trying to go down and in, and they did. But check out the swing. Yep, just go ahead and get some wood. I love that he looked out at Martin Perez after, as almost to say, hey, man, you see what I just did right there? Because that was pretty impressive. That would have been a great strikeout, too. I mean, you get a guy to swing like that on a swing and miss as a pitcher. I mean, it's one thing to strike a guy out. It's another thing to get him to take a brutal swing.
50th pitch of the day for Perez, and it's right down the middle. Strike 3 called, and Herrera down looking. 5 strikeouts for Martin Perez.
Leading the Rangers by a score of 1-0. And Rangers fans, make sure you download the Fox Sports Go app and take Rangers baseball with you wherever you go. If you can't catch the games on TV, you can stream them live on your mobile device with the Fox Sports Go app, presented by Hyundai.
Well, here come the Rangers in the 3rd inning. And Jared Hoying takes a strike. Hoying's 3rd game up with the big club. And his first 2 have been pretty impressive. And yesterday, certainly a standout day for Hoying. His first big league home run. And was a triple short of hitting for the cycle. Ended up 4 for 4, but had a couple of singles. And the note today, Rangers media relations really went to work on this one, and they contacted Elias Sports Bureau. This was pretty interesting. Did you see this one?
I didn't.
About the night last night, because we were remarking on the bottom of the order. Fly ball center field, and Herrera is there, 1 away. So Hoying went 4 for 4 yesterday, and so did Delano DeShields. According to Elias Sports Bureau, only the 2nd time since 1900 that a team's starting 8th and 9th place hitters would have each gone 4 for 4 in the same game with no hitless at bats.
Wow.
So then, you know, it begs the next question, which is, oh, well, I mean, it must have been, what, 1911?
Yeah.
Something like that. No, fairly recent. 2004. The Tigers did it, our next opponent. Carlos Pena went 6 for 6. Batting 8th, and Omar Infante went 4 for 4 batting 9th.
Can't believe Carlos Pena was ever batting 8th.
Yeah.
Big power guy. Average wasn't always that high, but surprising that he would be down low. But you know what? We see kind of a similar thing here. I guess it all depends on what kind of lineup you're in. Joey Gallo's that kind of hitter to some degree, so I guess I could get it. But So they went a combined, you said 10 for 10?
Yeah, they went a combined 10 for 10. 1-1, and DeShields fouls it away. All right, our TXU Energy power player to watch today is Delano DeShields. And the last 5 games, Delano's 9 for 16. And you see, getting around to score. Hit for a little bit of power and takes a shave from Pivetta. It's 2-2. So that has pushed Delano's overall batting average this year up to 282. His on base is at 347. And we talked earlier about Jeff Bannister settling into certain patterns, it seems, with his lineup now. We just hit the quarter of the way through the season yesterday. And part of that is against right-handed pitching. We see DeShields oftentimes batting ninth with Chu leading off. And that little combination seems to have worked out well. Swinging strikeout of DeShields, though, is the second out in this third inning. All right, time for us to take a Chevy game break. Let's send it back to John Radigan. All right, thanks, John. 2 away here, third inning in a 1-0 game. Phillies leading, and back to the top of the order. Chu, who struck out in the first inning, and then he takes one a little tight. Pivetta, another one of the young pitchers that the Phillies are trotting out, not just this season, but in this series. We saw a good one yesterday, Zach Eflin, although he did not have his best start yesterday. Today, Pivetta looking a little sharper, just 24 years old. The kid, the 2-0 pitch. This one ripped down the right field line toward that foul pole and just fouled. Nice play down there. You got it.
Chu tried to keep that ball fair with a little bit of body line, which didn't quite happen. Doesn't work that way, but puts a good swing on that one, just a little bit ahead of it.
Ooh, strike poured in there, and it's 2-2 now on Chu.
It's a pitch you don't see too often from Pivetta, where he throws that slower breaking ball. That slider will sit in the low 80s, but that was the curveball there. One he hasn't shown very much at all.
This one bounced through the right side and into right field. A base hit for Chu. Third hit of the afternoon for the Rangers. And it does get Elvis Andrus to the plate. Chu will take a modest lead over there at first. Andrus popped up in the first inning. He's 0 for 1. And takes that one high. So Pivetta, as I mentioned, just 24 years old, out of British Columbia. Born in Victoria. Still lives there in the offseason. 6'5", 210 pounds. Big kid.
And he was the guy that came over in that Jonathan Papelbon trade, so you got to be pretty happy with that. I think if you're the Philadelphia Phillies, Papelbon had what, the 1 year left, or the rest of that year, because it was a July trade back in 2015. So it was the rest of 2015 plus the option that had to be agreed to get picked up. And so the Phillies end up getting a 4th round pick in return. And listen, this guy's gotten to the big leagues and he made big league starts. And at the time, Jonathan Papelbon wasn't going to be an easy move. You weren't going to get a ton in return. So if this guy, Pivetta, can stick in the big leagues a little bit, make some starts, call that a successful trade when you consider where the Philadelphia Phillies were at that point and where they have been, where they are right now. They didn't need a closer anymore. They're ready to move on from Papelbon.
Pete Mackanin giving some signs from the dugout. Larry Boa right there to the right of your screen. A couple of really well-respected baseball men.
Got some years between them. They've seen quite a few things over the years.
What is Boa now? Boa's like, I want to say, what, maybe in his 70s?
I'd say so. So Pete Mackanin, 65 years old. He made his debut back in 1973, so he's a 1969 draft pick.
Yeah, Boa, by the way, 71 years old. So the reason I bring it up, he was out throwing batting practice yesterday or the day before. He was out there wheeling it in there to the guys and looked great. And I thought to myself, my goodness, we should all be 71 and throwing big league batting practice. That's pretty awesome.
I mean, I just mentioned, so Mackanin starts his career in 1969. Larry Boa starts his career 1965. That sounds like a really, really long time ago. Think about all those years of being in baseball for both of these guys, and it's nice to see Pete Mackanin getting that opportunity that he has. We mentioned the extension, but just a lot of great baseball experience between the both of those guys.
Well, their Phillies currently lead 1-0. We're in the third. Two, that walking lead at first. He'll be moving. There he goes, and this one lashed foul. So Andrews stays alive.
Mackanin had a couple of interim opportunities. He managed in 2005 for the Pittsburgh Pirates for 26 games. Managed for the Cincinnati Reds for 80 games in 2007. But this has been going back to last year. 2016 was his first full year, first opportunity he had to manage a big league team from wire to wire.
There's ball 4, so Andrews is on. Chu goes to second. Rangers have a little something brewing here with 2 away. All right, so now a visit. Bob McClure out there. Talk about more baseball experience out there to have a word with Pivetta. For a little more on Elvis Andrus, though, let's send it down to the field to Emily Jones.
Yeah, Dave, I talked to Elvis about, the team now being a game above 500 and trying to kind of reset things from here. And asked him if he looks at the standings at all. He said, of course, we know where we are in the standings. We know who's in front of us, we know who's behind us, and we know how close we are and they are respectively. And I said, is it discouraging at all to have won 8 straight and only gained a game in the standings on the Astros? He's like, look, it is what it is. They're playing amazing baseball right now, and you like to think that things will even out at some point. Everyone's going to hit a rough patch, but you can't deny the baseball that they're playing. But we can't worry about what's going on ahead of us or behind us. We've shown that can get us into trouble. What we have to worry about is ourselves and what we're doing and how we're playing as a team. And even when they weren't getting wins, he felt like they were still finding things to build on that got them to where they are now.
Well, yeah, and it has worked out really well. And a lot of questions again today for Jeff Bannister about now being above 500. And I loved it. He feigned ignorance. What? Really? we're over 500? I didn't. And his point was, and it is somewhat true, they don't really pay attention. Now, this is a bit of a tipping point, if you will, in a season for a team. But his point is, well, you don't stop and give everybody a round of applause for being 500. He said, yeah, I was in an organization. It took us 21 years to get to 500. We didn't get any awards for that or anything. He said, okay, so we're above 500 now. We just need to keep working through the process, keep winning games, winning series. We're a long way from where we need to be. But it is big.
It's really nice, I think, just from kind of an optics standpoint, because there was a slow start to the season, right? The Rangers, I think, at a low point were 8 under, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Does that sound right to you?
I think 7 under.
7 under.
13 and 20.
Right, and so you're getting to that point. I mean, we're even going to see, people are asking whether this team is going to be competitive, and so to go on this run, to get to 500, it's a nice look, because I mentioned this last night, quarter way through the season. All right, you break the season up into quarters. You can stay above 500 for all of them. You would take that. At the end of the season, you'd be in a pretty good spot. And so for the first quarter, it was an even 500. We got 3 more quarters to go, and just staying above the rest of the way. Whoop. That one came right back at us. That's why we stopped talking there for a second. A little panicky. Dave was up and at him. Dude, you ready to catch it, huh?
Well, I was up, and then as it got closer, I flinched.
Yeah. I didn't. I'm not a big fan of reaching out and trying to grab a ball. That one was actually coming right toward my laptop, and I've seen it before now where there have been like guys in the press box where their laptops or their iPad have worn it. I kind of froze a little bit right there.
Slow roller off the bat of Mazzara. Picked up, though, by Galvis. And he retires Nomar for the final out of the inning. The Rangers made Pivetta work. They don't get anything for it. 1-0 to the fourth.
Sitting. CJ Nitkowski right now. So that's what he's talking about, right? Of course not. Dad pointing out to the field, and what a great time. Come to a day game. Fantastic. Spend some time with your family. Nothing better.
The only thing maybe better is Superhero Friday postgame fireworks shows. That's coming up Friday, June 2nd. Rangers and Astros. After the game, a fireworks show set to superhero themed music. So don't forget to wear your red that day. We're going to red out the ballpark. Get your tickets at TexasRangers.com or by calling 972-RANGERS. Again, that's June 2nd. Well, Friday night fireworks.
There's Cole Hamels, unfortunately on the DL right now. We've got about they said they were anticipating 8 weeks. So we're about 6.5 away from that. Now it's never going to be exactly that.
Right.
A long way to go as he deals with that oblique, and one you always hear about. You got to be careful. Like any injury, but you have to be especially careful with those. If they flare up again second time around, it's like starting all over again.
Bouncing ball up the middle. Odor is there. Throws out Altair, 1 away. Well, you know, speaking of Cole Hamels, and it's unfortunate for him, does not get to participate in this series against his original franchise because he was such a big part of what they accomplished in the early 2000s. You look at 114 wins, all the strikeouts, and of course, to me, the moment that always stands out, that 08 postseason for him, World Series MVP.
How about the no-hitter, though, in his very last game with the Phillies? I mean, the odds of that whole situation, there was a lot of anticipation building up that year, and figuring Cole Hamels was going to be traded somewhere. Would that be his last start? And ended up being exactly that, his last start. And throws a no-no as a little gift to the fans of Philadelphia.
A liner hung up for Delano DeShields, and there is now 2 out in the inning.
The downside of being fast is sometimes you can overrun some of these balls. As Delano came in, it almost looked like this ball was going to have a chance, and maybe carried on him a little bit more than he expected, but had a chance to carry over his head. Puts up the 2 to let everybody know there's 2 outs. This ball was hit really well by Tommy Joseph, and these line drives will fool you a little bit, but Delano comes in and whoop. You don't want to be too fast. See, Dave, there's an advantage for guys like you and I being slow. We just don't overrun those balls.
Blanco takes one in the dirt. So 2 out here in the 4th inning, 1-0 Phillies. So back to that no-hitter that he threw against the Cubs. It was at Wrigley Field. And yes, a lot of speculation, a lot of excitement surrounding Hamels. We were at Wrigley Field last year in interleague play and got into a little conversation with a couple of the Cubs broadcasters. Hamels got a standing ovation after the game as he walked across the field. He was going to the interview room, which happened to be over by the Cubs dugout and clubhouse. So he was walking across the field to the Cubs side going into their dugout after the game. That one lined into left field to complete the inning. Cubs fans thought, oh, he's become a Cub. They made the trade. He's a Cub. Gave him a standing O. They loved it. Well, only for the news to follow shortly thereafter. Nope, he's a Ranger. We go to the bottom of the 4th.
Bottom 4, Rangers trailing the Phillies 1-0, and our State Farm winning combination this afternoon is the catching duo of Robinson Chirinos and Jonathan Lucroy, who have been batting in that cleanup spot, and so far so good. In 7 games, 10 for 23 with 2 RBIs. I talked to Jeff Bannister about it, jokingly said, so clearly that cleanup spot is the easiest one in the lineup to fill up, just whoever's catching that day, right? And he kind of smiled and said he had a conversation with Jonathan and Robinson before he put them in that spot and said, look, I'm not asking you to turn into power hitters. I just want you to connect the dots. We're going to have to manufacture runs a little differently with no Gomez and no Adrian Beltre. And so they have stepped up to the task quite nicely, guys.
Yes, they have. Thank you, Emily. Chirinos leading off this 4th inning. We'll see Lucroy getting a day off today. Lucroy and Napoli both getting a day to relax a little bit, get off their feet. A travel day today. After this game, the Rangers will be headed to Detroit. And Chirinos lined out in his first time up, shoots this one out toward right field and hangs up for Saunders, 1 away. And Nick Pivetta has looked pretty good so far today.
He's thrown the ball very well. Hard to believe this is a guy who had come in with the numbers that he came in with. Saw the batting average against. We talked about that a little bit. And you see, he's got good velocity. This is a guy prior to this game. Opposing batters were getting 394 off of his 4-seam fastball. It's a pretty good one, 93 to 96 miles an hour. 4 home runs allowed. The batting average was really high. He's been hit around pretty good so far here in the big leagues, but he looks pretty comfortable today.
Well, he works to Rougned Odor. 1 out in this 4th inning. A 1-0 Philadelphia lead.
You do research on guys like this, right, that you don't know very well, and read a couple articles, see if you can dig in a little bit more on a guy like Nick Pivetta. And I read one column that said he throws just 1 breaking ball. He said it's a slider. He said broadcasters, this really caught my eye. He said TV people, that's you and I, buddy, will sit there and say things like, well, he also throws, a curveball. He says, but it's the same breaking ball. He just changes the speeds. That breaking pitch was 73 miles an hour. That is a curveball. He throws a curveball and a slider. Point being, trust the TV guys more than you will the guys that write columns. That's the point of the whole thing, obviously. I'm reading that. I'm like, oh, okay, one breaking ball. All right. Like, no, he has 2 breaking balls. He throws a curveball and a slider. They are very distinct in their velocity.
Well, even if he holds him the same, whatever, I guess the result is a very different looking and behaving pitch. In that way, to me, they're 2 different pitches.
I mean, significantly different. And it's not like it's a little bit, because there are guys that will just, they move their hand just a little bit, and they'll tell themselves, well, it's a curveball, but it's really not. It's just a slower slider. And those things are absolutely true, and they do happen, but not in the case here with Nick Pivetta.
TV guy. 2-1 pitch.
They know it all. When in doubt, count on the TV guys. And there's been some confusion, too, with the way that if you go to any of the websites now that have the pitch classifications, a lot of what goes on, of course, is everything that's picked up by TrackMan, StatCast, and all that stuff. And there will be mistakes along the way, too, and that's important to know. And you got to dig in and watch with your eyes a little bit more.
Well, he's about to throw his 70th pitch of the day in this 4th inning, but my eyes are telling me that he's got a pretty good idea. Worked around some base runners early on. Odor hooks this one down the line foul, and we'll do it again. 2-2. Rugi popped up in the 2nd inning ended up being put out on a really nice play by Andres Blanco, who is the 3rd baseman playing more at short at the moment. This ball in the air toward right field, but not going to carry, and Saunders toward the line hauls it in.
He's done a nice job of inducing some weak contact today, getting a lot of these Rangers hitters a little bit off balance, a little bit out front. We just saw it with that pitch to Ruben Odor. Even some of the hard hit foul balls, he's gotten guys out just enough where they're having a hard time keeping the ball fair, right? We've seen a couple of balls that have been hit hard down the right field line. So that gives you an idea of the mixing and matching with speed, changing it up and down, in and out, all the things that happen. It's about keeping hitters off balance, and Pivetta, for the most part, has done that today.
Off the plate to Rua for ball 1. Well, we mentioned Pivetta was acquired in the deal for Jonathan Papelbon. Came over from the Washington Nationals. Yesterday's starter, Zach Eflin, was an acquisition in the deal with the Dodgers for Jimmy Rollins. All 5 of Philadelphia's starters acquired via trade in the last 2.5 years. So I mean, they have really remade this rotation, and they've done it with aggressive moves, getting rid of some of the veteran players who were here for the nice run that they had in Philadelphia, and stocking up with some young guys.
Yeah, and
there'll be bumps.
Yeah, they're in all the way on this rebuild, no doubt about it. They had to get out from under the Ryan Howard contract, Chase Utley, Jimmy Rollins, some guys that they had to move on from. Of course, we mentioned Papelbon and Cole Hamels, and that has all been part of the process for the Philadelphia Phillies. And again, it comes down to how they do on those draft picks. If they can hit on 1 or at least 2 of those, because they have some high ones that have just passed over the last few years. They have another high one, the 8th pick overall, coming up in this draft. You almost always have to hit on at least 1 or 2 of those, I think, to really put together, if you're talking about trying to put together a solid core, some kind of, dynasty might be a little bit of a strong word, but a solid core to help carry you through, over the next, 6 to 8 years if you can do it. So the combination of hitting those drafts, hitting the trades, getting those right, and then spending some money, because they will have money to spend. That's the other thing about the Philadelphia Phillies is they have spent before and they will spend again. It's just a matter of picking that right time to do it.
Well, Joey Gallo here with a man on. He struck out in the 2nd inning. 0 for 1 this afternoon against Nick Pivetta. Hits his ball sharply but foul, and it's 0-2.
I like that they brought in a couple of veterans along the way, though, too. I do think that matters. I think it's important. Yes, you go all in. You don't want to spend a lot of money, but at the same time, you do need some stability. And there, Jeremy Hellickson, I think, is a very good example. I think a lot of people were surprised that he was offered the qualifying offer and then ended up taking it, right? So he's on a 1-year deal for over $17 million. Seems a little bit high, 17.2, to have 1 starter that's in your rotation for a team that's not going to contend. But they see value in that. And that pays dividends in different ways when you can have a guy around who's kind of been there and done that. Same thing with Clay Buchholz. Everyone was like, wow, they traded for Clay Buchholz. That seems strange. Why would they pay him $13.5 million? He's hurt right now, unfortunately, but I think a lot of us saw that as all right, have him for a few months, let the young guys be around a veteran, and he's a good trade chip at the deadline.
Count stays 0-2 on Gallo. Now new management now in Philadelphia. They're in the second year with Andy MacPhail as their president. Matt McClintock is their general manager, and they were long a team that did not believe in the analytics and advanced statistics, but they have embraced those now, and they're just trying to modernize a little bit as well along the way. Listen, they had a great run. It's hard to criticize what they were able to do in the mid-2000s. Ball and 2 strikes to Gallo, man at first. And it's 2-2. Gallo had the big walk-off home run on this homestand. That's one of just 2 hits he has had on this homestand. He's 1 for his last 14 at the plate. That's a full count. He has walked with a decent amount of regularity, though. 5 walks on this homestand. So he has found his way on, sometimes in ways other than base hits or home runs, as the case may be. Another 3-ball count for Pivetta, his 7th of the day. And he's walked Gallo. So back-to-back 2-out walks. The Rangers can do something with this now. Meanwhile, we invite you to head out to the ballpark Sunday, June 4th. Rangers and Astros, final game of that series. First 7,500 kids 13 and under will take home an Adrian Beltre replica Gold Glove, courtesy of Power 80. Don't forget to wear your Rangers red. We're going to red out the ballpark. Go to TexasRangers.com or call 972-RANGERS to get your tickets today.
Now, some good news. We talked about this last night when we saw that Beltre glove, and I said, hey, that's a left-handed glove. And Adrian Beltre, of course, is not left-handed. There are no left-handed third basemen, but got official word that there are both right-handed and left-handed gloves. So it will be the mix of both. Don't know the exact ratio, but I don't even know what do you think the numbers are in our country? Probably 1/8 of the people left-handed.
They always say around 10%, right?
Yeah, somewhere in there. So I don't know what the ratio of gloves is. But if you're a left-hander, and all left-handers had to deal with this as kids when you went to a ballpark, had to kind of find out which gate had the left-handed gloves. So you have to work a little harder to try to find a lefty, but they do exist. Most of those gloves will, of course, be right-handed.
Pivetta working hard right now to find the strike zone. A walk to Rua, a walk to Joey Gallo, and he's fallen behind Hoying here 2-1. And it's another longer inning for Pivetta. He threw 28 pitches last inning, and this will be his 25th pitch this inning. So a couple of really tough ones. Hoying fights it off with the count 2-2.
He's done a good job of working around those walks so far, and now the Rangers got to figure out a way to cash in. Last 2 innings, right, where they put a couple of guys on with 2 outs, and now it's the idea of trying to come up with that big 2-out hit, and Hoying gets an opportunity this time around.
Rua second, Gallo first, and Hoying fights it off again. We'll reset. Similar feel to last night. Last night the Rangers got a run in the first inning off Eflin. They got a run in the second inning off of him. But there was a feeling like they had let him off the hook a little bit in those 2 frames. And then finally the work got to him. And the Rangers got to him as well. Now it's a full count to Hoying. It was a 4-run 3rd inning last night.
Hoying trying to find a way to get Delino DeShields a chance to get up here in this 4th.
3-2, and that one ripped foul.
It's a lot of those, right? You know, so many line drive foul balls there have been, and more often than not, it has been guys that are ahead of that breaking ball. It has everything to do with the speed, and he has kind of varied the speeds on a breaking ball as well. It's not just sitting here, okay, well, the slider's 82 and the curveball's always 75. There's been some variations, and Nick Pavetta's done a good job, at least so far up to this point, of getting some of these Rangers hitters to get way out in front and break the ball.
Bouncer left side of the infield. Blanco is there, and his throw to first in time. That will end the inning. Rangers leave a couple. We go to the fifth. 1-0 Philly. Jay, the big story last night. How about this one? The Braves and the Blue Jays. Now,
Jason Mott with the quick pitch, and Kevin Pillar did not appreciate that at all. It is perfectly legal. No reason to get upset. I think unjustified. Jose Bautista hits an all-important home run in the eighth with his team trailing by 5. He cut that lead to 4, so that was obviously a really huge home run. Deserving of a bat flip, I guess, or at least he thought so. And I'm being sarcastic. You're not picking up on that. And then, of course, the flashback to what happened with the Rangers. They need no reminder of this moment, and moved down the door. Responding what I thought was appropriate at the time. I was not working for the Rangers, calling Rangers games. I thought he certainly had a legitimate beef and handled himself extremely well. Listen, it was encouraging to see a guy stand up for himself the way that he did against Jose Bautista. No doubt a dirty and late slide. But, it's disappointing. I play with Jose Bautista in the minor leagues, and it's a little disappointing to see him kind of become this guy all of a sudden where, last night, that's one thing what happened in the postseason game, but what happened yesterday and last night in Atlanta is absurd to me. The score is 8-3, and it's the 8th inning. You just hit a solo home run. And, is that in response to how Kevin Pillar reacted to the quick pitch? Quick pitches are legal. He didn't do anything illegal. He beat you by coming up with a better strategy. Yeah, I know it stinks. It's not fun getting beat when a guy does something like that, but certainly no reason to curse at him and yell at him and try to start something. Just, you know what? You got beat. Be ready. You get in the box. You got to be ready. Quick pitches are perfectly legal, and then for Jose Bautista to feel like then the home run necessitated a bat flip, and he's staring out at Eric O'Flaherty.
Tough play at first, and a great job of covering the bag by Martin Perez. They retire Saunders to start the 5th inning.
Take a look at this one. This looked pretty close here. And Ryan Rua has to go to his left. Ball takes a little bit of a funny hop, does a good job of keeping it in front of him, and flips it to Martin, who again does a nice job of getting over there to cover, and there will be no challenge here from the Phillies. Yep, you see there plenty of time. But I don't get it. I don't get why it was necessary to hit that home run if you're Jose Bautista. And it doesn't matter if you're hitting 400 or 200, and if it was your 50th home run or your 5th. Like, why are you staring at Eric O'Flaherty?
This ball lifted out to right field. Mazzara going back. The ball carrying well and into the bullpen. Franco the other way with a solo homer and makes it 2-0 Philadelphia. 6th of the year for Franco, and it came on the first pitch of the at-bat. And to me, boy, the ball is clearly being helped today by the weather conditions.
No doubt. And Franco does a nice job of cutting this ball in half. And you see this pitch, a slider that hangs up a little bit. But you hear this phrase a lot from hitters, right? Try to cut the baseball in half, get it to spin backwards. And the way that this ball went through that wind, the way it kind of carried, I should say, out to right field, tells you that he did a nice job of getting really good backspin on that ball and cut right through. That's why it continued to carry, just like a pitcher. Right? We talk about spin rate with a pitcher and the guys that can spin the ball really well. That fastball stays true a little bit longer. It's exactly the case right there for Franco in the way that he hit that baseball.
So now a 2-0 lead. And the count 1-1 on Andrew Knapp. I want to go back and revisit something you just said in the middle of that meandering diatribe of yours there on Jose Bautista.
Thanks, buddy.
But I meant that as a compliment.
I didn't know what that meant.
No, you said it doesn't matter if you're hitting 400 or 200. You know, the way he behaved on the home run. But doesn't it just a little bit, right? If you're hitting 200, as is the case in this situation, it just it goes back to drawing more attention to yourself in a spot that just doesn't make sense.
I mean, I'm just not a fan of it in general because it is about guys drawing attention to themselves.
This ball lined sharply out to right field by Knapp, and he'll cruise to second with a 1-out double.
Take a quick swing. Excuse me, a quick look at this swing here from Knapp, and now this is back-to-back right-handed hitters that do a pretty good job of driving the ball the other way. This was a fastball that was up. Good approach there by Knapp. But no, I mean, yes and no for me. I think the moment of the game is really what matters. I don't mind that guys decide every once in a while if they want a bat flip or admire a home run, but it was the way that in that one was done. Like, he hit it and then he's staring out at the pitcher. Like, yeah, we know you just beat him. Like, what are you doing? Like, that's when you're starting to try, in my opinion, you're starting to mix it up a little bit, and you're actually showing up your opponent. It's one thing to enjoy a big moment, right? You hit a walk-off and you're jumping up and down, and maybe you throw your helmet off while you're coming around third base. Whatever, that's fine. That's a big moment. What's the point of trying to draw the pitcher into it? Like, that to me is where you really cross the line of poor sportsmanship, and you're showing another big leaguer up. And there wasn't enough that happened where, you know, it's one thing if the Braves were hitting a bunch of guys and you felt like, you know what, it's payback time, and, you know, I can't believe you did this, and I'm unhappy with you, or I want to tick you off. That's one thing. But I just don't get it, man. I don't see the point at all.
1-1 on Freddie Galvis, who struck out in the third inning. Phillies leading 2-0. Sac fly in the second. Solo home run by Franco here in the fifth.
And there were certain guys you always knew that you just had to wear it, right? You know, guys, like anytime Manny Ramirez hit a home run off you, he's gonna look at it. You know, he's gonna enjoy it, and there's not anything you're really gonna do about it. You just got to wear it from some guys. Well, I think maybe it's more even from the inconsistent guys that pick their spots that gets a little bit more annoying.
Yeah, and I think you touched on it too. It's the way he sometimes engages the opposing pitcher as if, I mean, as if there's more to be done here.
You
just hit the home run, right?
Imagine you do that after every time you struck him out. And looked at him, and then did cartwheels into the dugout. You know what I mean? Like, it's ridiculous. I get it. This can be an emotional game at times, and certain moments call for some kind of celebration. But keep it, you know, at least about you. Try to draw the other guy in as well. Like, the staring out at the pitcher stuff is never going to go over well. It's never going to be respected. See that foul tip. Catch Robinson Chirinos on the right side of that helmet. A lot of discussion about both of these. These helmets now have been around for a long time, the one piece as opposed to the old two piece. And I've heard a lot of catchers tell me the downside to those is that when you do take a foul ball off the mask, that it rings a little bit more, right? When you have the two piece helmet, a lot of times that helmet will pop off, or the face mask will pop off when you wear it with the skull cap. You know, there's pluses and minuses to both, but the downside, from what a lot of guys tell you, is that when they do get those foul tips off that mask, it rings your noggin a little bit more.
This one golfed out to shortstop, caught just above the ground by Andrews. Nice backhand snare on the very low liner by Galvis. 2 away.
We'll get a little peek at this from Elvis Andrus in that nice slow motion as he goes to his right and barely gets that just in time before it hits the ground.
Now 2 gone now, and back to the top of the order for Cesar Hernandez. Well, anyway, that was very much the big story coming out of last night. You know, the other big story, though, regarding the Atlanta Braves, I saw Freddie Freeman is going to have to miss, or they're talking about maybe 10 weeks.
It's unfortunate. MVP type season that he was having. You know, the thing with Freddie Freeman, he took that ball off his hand, and he is so good at driving the ball the other way. He was at, looked like a pitch. He was kind of leaning out over the plate a little bit, did not have enough time to get out of the way. That's the downside for guys that have great plate coverage.
High pop up back of second base. Odor drifting way out there. It's Hoying coming on who makes the catch. And the inning is done. Phillies add a run. The solo homer by Franco. We go to the bottom of the fifth. 2-0. West. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. And by North Texas Ford. The Great American Sales Event is happening now at your local Texas Ford dealer. Ford is the best in Texas. Bottom of the fifth inning on a Thursday afternoon out at the old ball yard here at Globe Life Park. 2-0. Phillies with the lead. And Delano DeShields will start things off for the Rangers. DeShields and back to the top for Chu and Andrews. Against Nick Pivetta, who has really labored the last 2 innings. This is an interesting inning to me, CJ. Pivetta has thrown right near 60 pitches in the last 2 innings combined. 58.
A little bit of work, without a doubt, for him the last couple, having to grind through, and mentioned some of the walks that we have seen, the longer at bats. The Rangers did a nice job of getting a couple of base runners on, but they did it with 2 outs. But you see those pitches there, the 57 over the last 2. Yeah, that's going to give you a little bit of wear and tear. And so you start to wonder, okay, the Rangers ready to cash in a little bit. Is there some fatigue setting in here for Nick Pivetta?
And part of it, too, was he walked Rua and Gallo in succession after getting a couple of outs, but eventually got Hoying, even though he went to 3 balls with Hoying. Deep counts. A handful of free base runners. It's 2-2 now to DeShields. Delano struck out in the 3rd inning, 0 for 1. Rangers have been held to just 3 hits so far this afternoon. Joely Rodriguez starting to loosen up for Philadelphia, so certainly an indication that Pivetta not going to go real deep in this one today. 2-2. He's fouled back again.
You got to believe for him trying to find a way to get through this 5th inning for Nick Pivetta, who, we certainly expect the Rangers to come back and take the lead at some point and win this game, but he is still going for his first big league win. So he's sitting here right now with a 2-0 lead, and can he grind through and Can he find a way to at least put himself in position to win? That pitch count tells me I don't know if he's going to be able to get there, and certainly coming out and running a full count up against the line of the Shields is not going to help his cause.
And another long at bat. This will be the 8th pitch of this at bat. And he gets the Shields swinging, 1 away. All right, top of the order coming, but so is John Radigan as we take a Chevy game break. Okay, thanks, John. 2-0 here, and Chu shows bunt. There's nobody at home on that left side of the diamond, and Chu at the very least engaging Blanco now.
There's still plenty of room there.
Well, there is.
It's like they're not taking that bluff, and I think in that case for Shin-Soo Choo, maybe just trying to draw the third baseman in at Blanco, right? Trying to maybe give himself a better opportunity to poke something through on the left side. Obviously, you can get him to play on the grass with where the shortstop is playing. That might be a little bit more of an opportunity if you hit a ground ball to the left side and that thing actually getting through.
3-0 the count. Well, Pivetta over 100 pitches now. 1 out here in the 5th inning.
Pitch counts have been an issue for him. He has yet to throw more than 5 innings in any start. He went 5 innings 91, 5 innings 101, and then 4 2/3 with 92 pitches in his last start. So Pete Mackanin has seen this from him before.
Well, a big walk right there. He gets a potential tying run to the plate.
So you wonder here a little bit. Okay, about the conversation. You see him at a season high 102 pitches, and you know, listen, he's a young guy, and so you're trying to bring him along, and we saw it last night, right? I think Pete Mackanin surprised us as far as how long he left his starter out yesterday in Eflin, right? Let him work through it, which you can certainly appreciate. I've seen more of that from Jeff Bannister than I've kind of expected this year, to be honest with you. So it's nice to see because the trend has gone in the other direction. But now it becomes, you know, what kind of message do you want to deliver here to Pivetta? And if I'm his pitching coach, and I'm trying to pump him up a little bit and say, listen, man, we'd love to get you through 5 and give you a chance to win this game, and not even worrying about necessarily strategy, or saying find a way to get out of this with a double play. Maybe you can get yourself a win. I need you to dig deep, whatever it may be, something along those lines, because they're in a pretty tough spot right now, and the idea of getting through 5 seems like it is quickly slipping away here from Nick Pivetta.
Chu at first, and that one very much out of the zone for ball 1 to Andrews.
The only thing too, like we see the 100 now, right? We see 100. Oh my gosh, 100 pitches, right? And the game has changed a little bit, but not everybody is the same. I don't care how young you are or how inexperienced you are. There are guys that can absolutely throw 120 pitches in this situation. And it's a grind, and it's not ideal, and you're not going to last if you do that every single time out. But you just wonder a little bit. Go ahead and push. We got 115 in you. I know we're running panic, so we start to see this 100 mark, but you never know.
Well, he's thrown 6 straight balls. Walked Chu on 4, and it's gone 2-0 to Andrews. So he's walked 3 of the last 5 batters he has faced. Having trouble commanding the zone, and finds a corner. 2-1. We saw McClure go right back into the dugout, hop on the phone to the bullpen. The other thing here is now you've got the base runner for the Rangers on, the starter who's wobbling just a little bit, and the real meat of this Rangers order coming up. This is a big spot. And it's 2-2 on Andrews.
I see the frustration on Elvis Andrews' face. And he was probably sitting dead red fastball and thinking about trying to tie this game up with 1 pitch in a 2-1 count, and Pivetta decides to go with the slider, and he does it out of the zone. And I was just kind of reacting, saying, you know, maybe I could have been a little bit more disciplined there.
Looney takes strike 3 called. So 2 strikeouts in the inning for Pivetta. But that's going to be it for him. He is not going to complete 5 because his skipper out there to the mound. And so a hard day's work for Nick Pivetta. He'll leave responsible for Shin-Soo Choo at first base, 2 out in this 5th inning and leading 2-0. New pitcher coming on. Get into that pin in this 5th inning. More on that in a moment. First, we want the attention of you smartphone users. Download the Ballpark app for access to Mobile Monday ticket offers. So fans using the Ballpark app have access to $5 upper reserve tickets on select Mondays. To get $5 tickets for Monday, May 29th, when the Rangers take on the Tampa Bay Rays, just remember, Mobile Monday ticket offers available through the Ballpark app. Download it today. Here is Joely Rodriguez.
Rodriguez, pretty much a standard 2-pitch pitcher. It is fastball, it is slider. That fastball will go 92 to 95 miles an hour. Throws that pitch 64% of the time, and then it's the slider that'll be about 85 to 87, and that's it. It is the one go-to off-speed pitch. We use this phrase a lot with right-handed relievers, and I know he's a lefty, but it seems that there's more righties that kind of fall into that category of sinker slider. But here you have a righty, or excuse me, a lefty, who is simply a 2-pitch guy, sinker slider. Oh, that was a strike. Nomar Mazara did not complain about this pitch at all. You know, a lot of times left-hand lefty, you're going to get the corner, but watch how this ball's caught. You talk about framing pitches and then talk about maybe taking pitches away. Throw that one 2 more times.
Tries to go a little further out that time.
You can't hit that pitch. You're not going to do anything with that. It's a ground ball waiting to happen at best. And I know Nomar's done a really nice job of taking balls away and driving them the other way, but I don't think he's going to be able to hit that one down there.
Well, to your point, Joely Rodriguez, that's what he has done so well, is get ground balls this year. Man at first, 2 out, and it's 2-1. Rodriguez has induced 36 ground balls this year in total. That's 6th most among all major league relievers. He is one of those Phillies arms that really has done a pretty decent job out of that bullpen. The bullpen in general has struggled.
He has, but he has not dominated lefties. 294 batting average against with a 400 on base percentage.
Oh, and a balk. That will put Choo at second base. First base umpire Phil Cuzzy right there on top of it.
Yeah, and I got to believe that the rule here, the call here is going to be, we'll see. I'll take a look at it first, but on the 45-degree angle, right? As a pitcher, oh my gosh, yeah, that is way past where you're supposed to go. So you go where the guy's foot is, right? Where the pitcher's left foot is. You have 45 degrees from that mark. That's how far forward your right foot can come as a left-hander. I'm going to put him at about 60 generously. He pushed it a little bit, and that's part of it. You do push it. Now, the key to that, what you're taught as a lefty reliever or left-handed pitcher, once you get that foot down, keep walking. Walk toward first base. Don't let the umpire get a long look at your foot that is down. That's part of kind of the deception when you're a left-handed reliever. And it's not from the corner of the pitching rubber, but the measurement. Obviously, an umpire's not going to come out there and measure 45 degrees, but they're trying to read it off of where your left foot is on the rubber.
Now the 2-1 to Mazzara. He held up, and it's ball 3. So another deep count. These Rangers hitters have been very patient.
And also with Rodriguez, he hasn't been a big strikeout guy, a left-hander. He's only struck out 3 lefties to 4 walks, so he has not dominated lefties by any stretch of the imagination, whether it comes to the batting average or the swing and miss.
Full count now. And see what Nomar has done with runners in scoring position this year. And he has been fantastic. Rangers hoping he can drive in that first run of the game here in the 5th inning, trailing 2-0. The payoff from Rodriguez. And that one fouled off. That one was definitely boring in on him.
Slider. I don't think he necessarily meant to do that on purpose. Let's take a look at this pitch. It was 87 miles an hour. No, they wanted to just throw a slider for a strike, and he didn't quite finish it. And if you really look at this at bat, it's been 6 pitches so far to Nomar Mazzara. I'm not sure how many have actually been in the strike zone. I'm not talking about foul balls. I'm not talking about called strikes, but how many pitches have actually been inside the strike zone. 1, maybe 2.
Chu leads off second. And that's ball 4. Another very good at bat. Mazzara is aboard. 2 men on here for Robinson Chirinos.
Well, listen, it's easy to say now, but I do like that last night Pete Buchanan let his starter go a little bit longer. And you look at the pitch count for Pivetta, and you look at where this team is going and everything else. I don't know. I think the idea of maybe giving him, one more opportunity, and I kind of thought it even when he took it out. Let's just see if he can get through that 5th inning. I know it's been a struggle for him, but why not push those limits a little bit with these young pitchers and see what they're made of? 107 was the total for Pivetta when it was all said and done.
Well, here's Chirinos. And he's swinging at the first pitch, but it's fouling out of play. That walk to Mazzara was the 4th walk in the last 7 at-bats for the Rangers. They've worked 5 walks overall today. And Rangers hitters have gone to a 3-ball count on 11 occasions already. So they have really made these Phillies pitchers work. It's 1-1 to Chirinos. We were talking about the numbers for Joey Gallo earlier and how so many of his hits have been extra base hits lately. Same for Chirinos. 0 for 2 so far today. And he shoots this one out toward right field. Saunders coming on. He won't get to it. It drops in, base hit. 2 will score. Mazzara stopped at third base. RBI hit for Chirinos, and the Rangers are on the board.
Well, really nice job here by Robinson Chirinos to do whatever you have to do to get this run in. The Rangers trying to scratch their first one across the board. And you see, it looked like a 2-seam fastball there. It stayed up and away, and so he caught it off the end of the bat. But this does a nice job of going with that pitch. Didn't square it up, but did exactly what he had to do to be able to get that ball into the outfield and down and get a run in for the Rangers.
Another mound visit. This one may be for strategy with Odor coming up. That run goes to Pavetta's line.
Yeah, unfortunate for him. Like I said, listen, hindsight 20/20, but the idea of, I just thought when he was at 107, he gets to 4 2/3 and finishes off Elvis Andrus with a strikeout. I know Nomar had the double and he hit it hard, but a learning opportunity. Why not push him to And potentially 112 pitches. I don't think it would have made much of a difference. See if he could finish that 5th inning. I will tell you right now, for that young man thinking about that, it's 1 earned run over 4 2/3. From an ERA standpoint, it's a pretty good job, but he knows he needs to cut down those pitches and wants to be able to get deeper in games.
Now Odor, and he takes ball 1.
Got to tell you, after watching, and I know it's only been a few pitches, but watching Rodriguez, the approach here, he didn't throw anything intentionally inside to Nomar Mazar, right? There was a slider that finished up and in, but you watch the fastball there too. He kind of yanks it a little bit and see how it kind of dies toward the end. I got to think you're leaning out, you're looking middle away. There's a big gap right now in left center field. If you get that first fastball away in the outer half, there's an opportunity for Rugi to crush it.
2-0. Joely Rodriguez came on in relief here and inherited Shin-Soo Choo at first base. He allowed him to score. And you look back at Rodriguez's numbers, he's inherited 11 base runners this year and has now allowed 7 of them to score. This Phillies bullpen, mentioned, has struggled in the last 25 1/3 innings coming into today. They had given up 20 earned runs. 3-0 to Odor.
And as much as I love Rugen Odor's ability to hit the fastball, I don't green light him here. Make him take one, because Rodriguez does not look comfortable, because that fastball's got that little bit of movement away. I just think it's a little bit risky here. Make Odor take one.
Well, he is swinging, shoots it out to left field, drops in, base hit. Mazara's in. This game is tied, and Odor's got to hustle back to first. Phillies not playing very close attention, did not know that Odor was nearly at second base when that ball got back into the infield.
They sure did, and Blanco almost made a huge mistake, but huge credit here to Rugen Odor. My concern on a 3-0 count that the swing was going to get big, that he was going to try to hit the ball out to right field. But look at this, just does a nice job. Almost looked like a 2-strike swing, kept it short and took that ball to left field, and that is the right approach with this kind of lefty, with the way that his stuff moves. And I thought maybe take one, but that was a tough pitch to hit too. And credit Rugen Odor for taking a team at bat right there and a team approach to that RBI situation and getting this game tied for the Rangers.
Inning still going. Ryan Rua, and he shoots it out to right. Saunders was in shallow. That one over his head. It is gone. A home run! Just over the fence and right, a 3-run bomb. Rangers lead it 5-2.
Well, Ryan Rule, we saw this and mentioned it in his first at-bat, not waiting around, not seeing a lot of pitches, and jumping on a first-pitch fastball that he sees. And Rodriguez had just let up back-to-back base hits. He's also fallen behind the count a ton, and so Rule decides, if he gives me something in the zone early, I'm going after it, and I'm not going to try to do too much. I'm actually going to drive the ball the other way. And look at the head down. Instead of trying to pull that baseball, hits an absolute rocket line drive to right field and does enough just to get it over the wall. And how about the opportunity here again for the Rangers with 2 outs and them coming through big.
Joey Gallo fouls off a strike. So Rua, with his 3rd home run of the year, has given the Rangers the lead. It's 5-2, and it's a 5-run 5th inning. Gallo launches one down the right field line. If it stays fair, it is foul. And just barely.
Man, he just got out in front of that a tiny bit. I got to believe maybe the wind helped that ball a little bit down the line. And Joey Gallo was trying to influence umpires in that situation and calling that ball fair himself. But no, this ball was crushed and just missed. And you see him taking a look at it and just curving foul.
Might have shaved off a little yellow paint on its way. Just missed. And it's 1-2 the count. Gallo struck out in the 2nd, walked in the 4th. 5 runs across this inning, and thanks to a couple of walks, a couple of singles, And the Rua opposite field line drive homer. And that struggle through the Phillies bullpen continues. We referenced those numbers earlier in the inning, but Joely Rodriguez on for Nick Pivetta, and it has not gone well for the left-hander. Full count.
You just play with fire here against the Texas Rangers, and eventually you are going to get burned. We go back to the third inning where they had a couple of runners on and unable with 2 outs to get those guys across. Happened again in the fourth inning, 2 runners on after 2 quick outs, and they were unable to cash in. Well, this one was 2 outs, and there was a couple of walks, so 2 outs and runners at first and second, and all of a sudden it's base hit, home run. And the Rangers, you just can't do that to them. You give them one too many chances, and they are going to get you.
Gallo goes down on strikes. The inning is over. Rangers, though, plate 5 to take the lead. Hat tip to Ryan Rua. A laser the other way. And for the first time today, the Rangers out in front. To the 6th inning, Ryan Rua with the 3-run homer. Boy, that got this place going.
It's almost like, listen, when the team is playing as well as they are right now, you anticipate it, right? Yeah. You feel like it's just, okay, it's 2-0. It's going to happen. It's just a matter of time. And at least so far here in that 5th inning, that was the moment. And the Rangers really busted through. Jeff Anderson's got to love that too, right? I mean, think about where you put guys in the lineup. They're forced to put Jared Hoying in there yesterday, right? The last couple of days because the injury kind of forced the change. But you pick your spots and say, okay, well, when do I want to get Ryan Rua in the lineup? When is the right time to use that bat? And whether it becomes matchups or day games, right? That's the other time. A lot of times you'll see a guy get a day off, and the guys that aren't playing every day will get their opportunities. But he plugs him in today, and all he is 2 for 2 with a walk and a couple RBIs. 3.
1 ball and 1 strike to Jubal Herrera, and he'll bounce one foul, first base side. Herrera, Altair, and then Tommy Joseph in this 6th inning for the Phillies. They led 2-0 with a run in the 2nd inning. Franco with a sacrifice fly, and then Franco again in the 5th inning with a solo home run. And that's how the Phillies took the early lead. They were getting good pitching, sort of. Nick Pivetta was working around a lot of trouble, but I mean, he was battling.
He was putting up zeros. Listen, at the end of the day, he's not happy with his outing because he only went 4 2/3, and he threw a lot of pitches. And if you do that over the course of 6 innings, it's okay, right? You can say, all right, he battled today, you didn't have your best stuff, and that's going to happen. Any starting pitcher will tell you.
Line drive, second base, and Odor takes care of it, one away.
The idea of competing, right? It's all about that for pitchers. And they'll tell you, okay, if I'm making 30 starts a year, Cole Hamels will probably tell you this all day long. Okay, there's a number, whatever it is for him. 4 or 5, you're just not feeling it, right? It's going to be another 4 or 5 where you feel like you could pitch with your eyes closed and you're just going to dominate. Then there's those middle starts and how you work those. But in those 4 or 5 or 6 or 7, whatever the number is, where you're not feeling great, your ability to compete, that's where it takes over. Say, okay, you know what, this pitch isn't there, that one's not there, my command isn't great. How do I find a way to get 5 or 6 innings into this game and keeping my team in it? And Pivetta was close. He was close to getting that done, and unfortunately, he just ran out of pitches. I say unfortunately for him, not unfortunately for us.
Altair shoots one foul. Five, 2. Texas with the lead. Martin Perez, meanwhile, is just sort of chugging along. Gave up a run here, run there. Early on, had the strikeout working for him in a big way. Had 5 strikeouts in the first 3 innings. But all the while, just kept his team in a spot where they could come back, and they have. And that has been one of the maybe the unsung stories on this stretch that the Rangers are on. Well, we're doing our best to highlight all the great elements that have led to this 8-game winning streak. But the starters, because it's not as flashy, it doesn't come in one big moment. Just every day, 6, 7 innings, you know, 1 or 2, maybe 3 runs. And we had all those comeback wins early on this homestand. First 5 games were all decided from the 7th inning on. It's because the starters kept him in that position and gave him that chance.
Without a doubt, starting rotation has been very good. Didn't check today what they went into yesterday. The best ERA in baseball is a starting rotation. I haven't taken a peek today. Got a blue there, right there, first or second. But the consistency of the rotation has been really nice to see. And just one issue for Jeff Bannister that he hasn't had to worry about, really. I mean, there's times every once in a while, right? Worry about a guy start here or there, whatever it may be. Of course, that's going to happen over the course of the season, as you see Darvish practicing his left-handed pitching, saying just in case, I'm ready, coach.
This ball hit high in the air out to center field. Back is Hoying, and it has room out there to make the play. 2 out in the 6th. So we mentioned this will be the final game of this homestand. Heading to the road, we will go to Detroit tonight in our AT&T pitching matchup tomorrow. Nick Martinez looking for his first win of the season against Daniel Norris for the Tigers.
And the Detroit Tigers have been swinging the bats pretty well now. Hopefully, I say hopefully, probably not the right way to say that, but Miguel Cabrera dealing with a little bit of an injury. Maybe he takes a couple of games off. Maybe I'll put it like this: our feelings would not be hurt if we didn't see Miguel Cabrera in the lineup over this series. But JD Martinez is back, and he has been swinging an incredibly hot bat, so that's what they're going to have to deal with there. Here you see Miguel Cabrera was scratched yesterday dealing with an oblique. Let's go ahead and bump that up to 4 to 5 days would be kind of nice, just to make sure we have our 3 covered in Motown.
A foul ball off into the bat of Tommy Joseph. Count 0-2. The Tigers a game and a half back of the Minnesota Twins going into play today. You mentioned we hit the quarter mark of the season, and strike 3 called. Joseph down looking, and that's the 6th strikeout today for Martin Perez. We go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Rangers leading by 3. Sonic Drive-In. Today's jackpot worth $2,200 plus dinner for two at Sonic Drive-In. Today the Rangers are hitting for Lester Clark from Dallas. So if a Ranger hits a home run this inning, he'll win $2,200. If they hit a grand slam, Lester wins $25,000. (5-2) Rangers lead in the sixth. And Hoying bunts one, perfect spot. That's a base hit. Right between first and second, and no one had a chance.
This is the perfect bunt hit by Hoying, obviously, but you take advantage of a left-handed pitcher who falls off to the third base side. You get a second baseman that is playing a little bit closer up the middle, and so you make sure you get that ball past the pitcher. You can go ahead and just kind of walk to first base. Oh, nice job right there, Mike Alvis. Huh? Pretty neat. Now, it's not very beneficial to the Sonic Slam inning, though. Right?
No.
If you're sitting at home and that's you and you see a guy squaring, you're thinking, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Surely you realize it's the sixth. So Hoying is on, and we know he has power. We saw him hit that big home run yesterday. Delano DeShields showing bunt and takes his strike. Speaking of the home run yesterday by Jared Hoying, I think Emily has a little more on that.
Yes, the ball has been secured by the Rangers. However, Hoying is indebted to Carlos Gomez because the kid who caught it wanted a Carlos Gomez bat. So he owes Carlos one to get his first home run ball. Fair enough, huh?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's kind of how strange, right? Carlos Gomez obviously out of the lineup, goes on the DL, so that allows Jared Hoying to get the playing time in center field, gets his first big league home run. And then, yes, the trading begins. That's your right as a fan. You catch the ball and say, all right, you know what? There's something I actually want from you, but I don't want your bat, and I don't want your autograph. I actually want Carlos Gomez's bat, and I'm sure Jared Hoying would be more than happy to kind of help facilitate that one way or another. But what is most important is that he's got his hands on that baseball.
I mean, if I'm Hoying, I'll make that deal every single time.
Well, but he's got to talk a little bit, right? It's not automatic for him that, right? He's got, hey, Gomi, could you help me out here a little bit? I need one of your bats. And he's saying, no, you want to use one? No, actually, I need you to sign it, and I'm going to give it away.
So the lead man on in this sixth inning. DeShields has twice shown he wants to bunt. Now swinging, bounces it right side, and that slow hopper will be hustled to first to retire DeShields. So one away. A couple of defensive changes for the Phillies. Ty Kelly has come in to play left field. Altair, who was in left field, moves over to right, and Saunders is now out of the game. So Hoying out there at second, one away. And back to the top of the order for Shin-Soo Choo. Rangers scored 5 runs in the fifth inning, and they did it with 2 outs. Choo drew the walk. Andrews eventually struck out, and then with 2 away, it was a Chirinos walk. Pardon me, a Mazzara walk. Chirinos with an RBI single. Odor with an opposite field single, and then Ryan Rua with the 3-run homer, all with 2 out in the inning. 1-1 the count to Choo, who's been on twice today. A base hit, a walk, he has scored a run. Trying to check it up on an appeal. He did. Joely Rodriguez, who came in last inning and watched as it unraveled on the Phillies. Back out again in this sixth inning, and pumps that one in there. It's 2-2, and that's one of the things on this this winning streak. Rangers have won 8 in a row, and one of the things they have done particularly well is they have done big-time damage against the opposition's bullpen. Again, the story today is this one is low, and it's a full count on Choo. Check out these numbers. So prior to this win streak starting, opposing bullpens were 9-4 with 1 blown save. On this win streak, the bullpens 0-5 with 4 blown saves and an ERA approaching 10. Shoot takes ball 4. And now there are 2 men aboard in this 6th inning.
Back-to-back walks for Shin-Soo Choo, and a good one there against the left-handed reliever. You mentioned it, even though you say, well, you see him just 1 hit per day today. He's had some really good at-bats, and everything really coming together right now lately here for Shin-Soo Choo.
So now Andrews, he'll be the 9th batter that Rodriguez has had to face in this relief outing. Elvis 0 for 2, but did walk in the 3rd inning. And he hits this ball out to left field. That one's going to drop in, base hit. Hoying will score from 2nd. Choo will be in at 3rd. And it's a double for Elvis Andrews. Rangers now lead by 4.
They'll double with some really nice base running here from the Texas Rangers. Shin-Soo Choo has always been a good base runner. Does a really nice job. Obviously easier, a little bit easier. And now it's only 1 out, excuse me, but taking off and reading this ball well. But watch Elvis Andrews not waiting around. Gets a first pitch fastball, turns on it right away, drills this ball into left field. But I don't think it's necessarily an automatic. And Ty Kelly was kind of keeping an eye on Choo and wondering whether or not he was going to try to go to 3rd base. And he does. You see Hoying scoring easily there from 2nd base. But all the way around, some nice base running by the Rangers, but especially Choo.
So opportunity continues to build for the Rangers in this 6th. And that will likely be it for Rodriguez. Boy, the wind picking up. Some of the trash blowing out onto the field. And Bob McClure heading out to the bullpen. Rather out to the mound. Out to the bullpen we go to see Pat Neshek warming up.
And you see a sidearm righty getting ready. We haven't seen him yet in this series, and a guy that they would, of course, much rather use in that setup role in games that they're winning, but it hasn't happened. The opportunities haven't been there so far this series. And so Pete Mackanin probably wants to get him a little bit work, try to get him in this game, attempt to maybe keep it close, assuming he'll follow Rodriguez here at some point. Interesting. I wonder here if there's something Bob McClure actually wants to see. Right? Remember the last at bat for Nomar Mazara, one that turned into a walk, and we talked about it. There weren't very many pitches that were even in the strike zone, even though it got to a 2-strike count against Nomar. The slider hung, fastballs were all away. But he doesn't have that arm side run on his fastball. The ball does not run away from a righty into a lefty. It's got some natural cut, and so Nomar, I think, has got to be at least a little bit comfortable looking for something out over the plate.
Mazara walked last inning in a really good at bat against Rodriguez. It kept the inning going and really got the 2-out rally going. He just keeps getting on base. And he hits this ball hard, but foul.
That's another slider that sat more middle in, not where Rodriguez wanted to throw it. This is a lot for a left-handed reliever. If you look at him as just more of a lefty-on-lefty guy, which he hasn't been, but look how far back he had to come up to get that ball or come back over the strike zone to catch that ball.
Off the plate, 2-1. Infield about halfway in, all the way around. Choo at 3rd base. Andrews hits 2nd. Advantageous count here from Mazara, and that one just missed. It's 3-1. Well, he's done a good job of watching some close pitches. Extended his hitting streak today to 8 games. His on-base percentage continues to climb. Well up over 330 now.
That was a 2-seam fastball there. That one looked like it had a little bit of run on it, but there just hasn't been very much of that from Rodriguez. That's what it registered as. Now they're sitting middle there. Well, it came back a little bit.
Mazara's been really good with men in scoring position this year. He's got second and third. And the payoff pitch, bouncer up the middle, that's a base hit. 2 scores, Andrus is in. Mazara has cracked this one open. 8-2 Rangers in the 6th inning.
Well, the Philadelphia Phillies had really no choice but to play the infield in. They're already playing from behind, trying to keep this game close, and Nomar Mazara takes full advantage as he gets a slider that stays flat, hits it on the ground, but Freddie Galvis was in, or excuse me, Hernandez now at second, and had absolutely no chance of getting to that ball, and it's a good at bat for Nomar. And like you said, all of a sudden the Texas Rangers have blown things open here in Arlington.
That is a tough outing for Joely Rodriguez. He is done. Phillies back into that bullpen, and we'll be back with a new pitcher in just a moment. Brought to you by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. And by AT&T Internet. Visit AT&T.com/keepcalm to learn more. Well, Mazara drives in a couple more and doing what he has done all year, delivering with runners in scoring position. And now Pat Neshek is on in this 6th inning, 1 out and a man on. 16th appearance of the year for Neshek. Well, he got off to some kind of start for the Phillies too.
Yeah, and he's got some funky stuff when you see the delivery here from Pat Neshek, and has always had this. Doesn't throw particularly hard, but doesn't have to. That fastball sit around 90 miles an hour, but it is all about the deception, the angle, the movement. Pretty much fastball slider that you're going to see from Neshek.
Chirinos, big RBI hit last inning.
You mentioned the start to Pat Neshek's season. Lit up his first runs of the year just a couple of days ago on May 14th against the Washington Nationals. Up to that point, he had gone 12 2/3 innings, hadn't allowed a run.
I mean, first 14 games of the year for him, he was, I won't say perfect, but pretty darn close to it.
And when you get on a streak like that and see a guy rolling, it is a kind of, this does happen where it's a little bit of a surprise to who actually brings that to an end. And it was Michael Taylor of the Washington Nationals. He had a 2-run homer, not to take anything away from Michael Taylor, and he's playing pretty well this year, but his career hadn't gone exactly as expected. He was a high prospect through that Nationals organization, and not exactly the guy that you would think would bring that scoring streak to an end, or a scoreless streak to an end.
Foul ball right up here to the club level, just to our right. We're a fan, well positioned, played it nicely, didn't get it cleanly, but he did stick with it.
He dropped it though. I think it hit the hands. They got a little panicky, kind of swarmed it as opposed to just going hands out to catch it cleanly. Did more of the, kind of gave it a bear hug, knocked it down, recovered nicely.
It's like he was catching a punt.
Yeah, exactly. Really good way to describe that.
2-2, lifted out toward right field. Back on it goes Altair, and he'll reach up and make the catch for the second out of the inning. And again, another ball that sort of seemed to keep carrying out toward right field. Chirinos out.
No, you're absolutely right. And a day like this, you never know exactly what's going to happen, how much this ball is going to carry. And for Altair, who has been in left field this entire series, now he finds himself in right. This is a little bit of a new look, and he knows, listen, guys come in, and yes, the ball doesn't carry to right field the way that it used to here, but it still carries at times. And you get wind, you got to be especially kind of cognizant of that. And that was his kind of first taste of how things go here on certain days in right field at Globe Life.
Now Odor, who is 1 for 3 today. Mazzara at first, 3 runs already across in the inning.
And you mentioned that rough day for Rodriguez. 2/3 of an inning, 6 hits, 7 runs, and he's still responsible for the 1 on first base. That is an absolute killer for a relief pitcher. 2/3 of an inning with 7 earned runs, potentially 8. That's 6 weeks of dealing to get that ERA down. And the ERA doesn't matter as much, especially for relievers, but it's cosmetic. It's a number that sits there that everybody looks at, and he's just going to have to ignore it for a little while.
Or maybe a long while, because it will take a while. Nishek getting himself right out there. Retired Chirinos. Now 2-1 to Odor.
Ooh.
Finds the strike zone.
Man, I tell you what, that ball looked like it never crossed the strike zone, and you saw a little bit of a reaction from Ruben Odor. And listen, it's only the 6th inning. The Rangers have a 6-run lead, and Ruby looking back at home plate umpire Mark Rippinger, and he's kind of discussing the same thing. You don't want to give pitches or give at bats away.
Stays 2-2. Rangers had 17 hits yesterday, season high. They have 9 hits today. Have scored 8 runs. Yesterday scored 9 runs. And this one was a slow starter. First 4 innings, they had some chances, couldn't come up with the big hits. Well, that has been the difference lately. Winners of 8 straight. The Rangers, even sometimes in games where they start slowly, they feel like the big inning still may be coming, and lately have been able to find it. Full count. Five runs in the 5th, 3 so far here in the 6th inning. Getaway day for both these teams in the payoff pitch. Bouncer, second base. The shortstop Galvis is there, and he'll throw over to first, get Odor, and the inning is over. Rangers add 3 more. They've opened a can of whoop here today at Globe Life Park, leading 8-2.
on top 8-2 over the Phillies in the finale of this 3-game series. And it is time for our mini Countryman player profile. And today we shine the spotlight on Elvis Andrus, who before the game participated in the torch run for the Special Olympics alongside some Special Olympians and members of the law enforcement community. Elvis has been doing this since 2012. Can't say enough about the things that Elvis Andrus has done and continues to do in this community, making differences, especially in the lives of children everywhere, guys.
Yeah, he really is very involved and so engaging. He just has such a good time with it too. Terrific guy. Base hit into left field for Blanco to start this 7th inning. Martin Perez got a day and a half of rest. That's a little weird, right? I mean, you get it. You're never going to turn down the runs. He's got a nice 8-2 lead now. But I mean, some of those, the last 2 innings have been very long for him.
No, they have been, and it is kind of one of those weird spots as a pitcher. You'll take every run that you can get, and some guys are different than others. They're perfectly fine and say, listen, you want to score 20 for me? I'll be more than happy to sit here for 45 minutes. And other guys, don't like necessarily the longer breaks in between innings. There's an opportunity to get a little stiff, fall out of the flow of the game, all those kinds of things. And there can be a little bit of a challenge sometimes to those long innings.
I'm going to think of rain delays sometimes. As Ty Kelly gets his first at bat of the day. Came into play left field an inning ago. But in a rain delay, most managers would say, 30 minutes, maybe 45 in some cases. That's my limit. Once we hit that, then my guy's done. I'm not gonna ask him to go back out there. But in the middle of a game, we'll have delays, for lack of a better word, where a starter might be sitting around for that same length of time and they still go back out.
Yeah, it's a fair point. And everyone's different. I think a lot of managers will sit there and they'll try to do it at the like you said, 45, probably hour on the absolute high end as far as what they want to do as far as letting pitchers sit around. But yeah, there's something I think to be said for that. And like I said, each guy is different. Everyone handles it differently. Some guys will like to move around or ride the bike a little bit. And it's not even, a couple different things. You feel like maybe you get a little stiff. Your body temperature starts to come down a little bit. You worry about that part, and you can talk yourself into it too. You got to be a little careful too. You're sitting there for a while and you start to wondering, how am I going to feel when I get back out there? As we see a couple of guys up in the bullpen, Jeremy Jeffress, Alex Claudio.
Perez gives up a single to start this 7th inning.
This has been the spot, right? Martin has pitched into the 7th inning. I think it's been 3 times this year, but 6 1/3 is the longest that he has gone.
He goes full count now on Kelly. Kelly, by the way, in the game we mentioned an inning ago to play defense and replacing Michael Saunders. Saunders left the game with left groin tightness. 3-2. There's a swing and a miss, strike 3. So 7 strikeouts for Martin Perez, and that is a new season high for him.
And here's our Jimmy John's delivery of the game, and it is all about Martin Perez and what he has done today. But here's what really stuck out, and I talked about it earlier. How about the breaking balls that we have seen from Martin Perez? The curveballs, the consistency of them, the usage of them is what has really stuck out, with Martin Perez. 24% curveballs today. See a fastball there where he elevates. That is a pitch that he came in using just 9% of the time. So the curveball was feeling good. He knew he liked it against these Philadelphia Phillies hitters, and he has used it to perfection so far.
He goes with strike 1 to Franco. His career high is 8 strikeouts. Well, he's bumping right up on that. The man at first, and this one fouled away. The one thing we have not seen today, and it is a bit of an oddity with Perez starting, is we have not seen him get a double play. I mean, if there's one thing you can count on when Martin pitches, you can count on at least one double play.
Good time for it right here, and we talked about it at the beginning of the game, right? He has done it a bunch, more than anybody else since the start of 2016, and the Phillies are a team that's hit into the 3rd most in the National League.
This one out to right field. Mazzara going back, and he'll make the catch. 2 away. Blanco has to return to first base. We'll bring up Andrew Knapp.
Good to see Martin in some new territory here now at 6 2/3 innings pitched, which is a season high for him. Mentioned it, just the 3rd time now for him in his 9 starts where he's pitched into the 7th inning, and certainly would be ideal as he's getting ready to throw his 100th pitch if he could finish this off right now. And I got to believe Jeff Bannister probably would hand it off to the bullpen after that.
Strike 1 on Knapp. Knapp 1 for 2 today. Knapp's dad was an 11-year minor leaguer. Catcher, right-handed hitter. And as the story goes, his dad was told on more than one occasion that, you know, if you were left-handed, you'd be in the big leagues already. And so it was Knapp's mom who then at a very young age, he was like 3 or 4 years old, took him out and taught him how to hit from both sides. One day Dad came home from a long road trip. It's like, what is going on? and his mom just said, look, I'm not going to let the same thing happen to him that's happened to you. He's going to have to hit from both sides. And so he's stuck with it all these years. He's a switch hitting catcher, and he's in the big leagues. So I guess Mom knew. This one in the dirt. Late start at first base. Chirinos' throw just a little bit high, and Blanco gets in there to second base. That'll be a wild pitch.
Listen, Mom knows best. We know that. And of course, if you're going to be a catcher, yes, if you can hit left-handed or switch, that's going to be a huge advantage. And Martin Perez was a little bit surprised here to see Blanco going down to second, and looked like, did he catch a little bit of Rougned Odor's foot? I think right near that helmet.
Well, he's all right. Ball and 2 strikes on Knapp. You took your boys and you tied their right arms behind their back for the first 6 years of their life?
Well, I got lucky. The first one, boy, lefty. Second one, currently 9, swings lefty but throws righty.
Can you fix that?
No, listen, Joey Gallo, there's enough good ones around the big leagues. That's what I told him. I try to give him guys to kind of look at. Say, this guy does this just like you. Rougned Odor.
Boy, is he disappointed that he's not left-handed?
No, I don't think so. I don't think he cares. He just loves the game no matter what. Yeah. He does love pitching, and I'm like, ooh, well, you're going to have to be better than most. Right. Then I tell my son the opposite, right? You have to be average. Do what your dad did. Just be really average.
2-2 pitch. There's a swing and a miss. Strike 3. And a career high 8 strikeouts for Martin Perez. Fans will give him a nice round of applause as we go to the bottom of the 7th. 7th inning. AT&T high-speed replay this afternoon. This was Ryan Rua, 5th inning with 2 outs.
Big spot, and we mentioned the 2-out rallies here from the Rangers. We've seen a bunch of them, and they dodged, or I should say the Phillies dodged a couple of bullets earlier in the game, but it finally caught up to them. And Ryan Rua, right man in the right spot, has had a really nice day here. Now 2 for 2 with a walk, 3 RBIs. He had a base hit back in the 2nd inning, walk in the 4th, and he's going to try to add on to what has already been a great day for him here in the 7th.
I suppose the launch angle was of that home run.
7.
Yeah, right.
That was low.
It was.
I don't know. Without looking, I know Steve's looking at us right now like, I can tell you right now, I can tell you right now. I know, we want to guess. I will say 21 degrees.
I might even go south of that. I'll go like 19 degrees just to throw a random number out there, because none of it makes any sense to me.
Yeah, but you got to go Price is Right style there, right? If you're going to go 19, then go 20 because you would win. If you think it's higher, then go 22. Why go 2 below? Well, let's find out. Where is this?
Rua leading off for this 7th inning. 1-0 from Joaquin Benoit, and it is ball 2. Benoit's 18th appearance of the year, and he has had his rough patches already with an earned run average over 5. Veteran right-hander. It's 3-0. One thing Benoit has done quite well this year, and that's, you would expect it of a guy with his track record in the game. He has been really tough on right-handed hitters. So now just 2 hits to them this season, and he puts a strike in there to make it 3-1.
How we do on that launch angle? Why can't I find it? Big secret today?
Well, I mean, I don't know. You having trouble tracking it down?
Yeah,
Okay.
I thought I knew how to find that really quickly, and apparently
I gotta do everything around here. Hang on.
Go to I have an analytics list for Twitter. Let me see what those guys have. They usually tweet out every home run.
Rua's had a nice day no matter how you slice it. Whatever the launch angle was. 3-2, and he stays alive.
Maybe they blocked me from seeing it, so I can't make fun of it anymore. Maybe they found a way to do that.
All right, so we're getting word right now.
Come
the launch
on.
angle was 20
That's
degrees.
a lie.
That's got to be a lie. Somebody's got to be messing with us.
Liars.
You took 21 and I took 19.
You blew it.
I did.
Now,
definitely
even
did
though
blow that.
let's just call it 20 and assume it was. I mean, let's be honest. You can call it a tie, but I paved the way. I mean, I kind of set the parameters. You were going to say like 11. I think once I said
No, you're
20.
right. I mean, I had no idea where to go. I was just kind of hovering around yours.
Let's call it a win for me.
There's ball 4 to Rua, who walks to start the 7th inning. All right, so the lead man on in the 7th. MLB.com at bat, your #1 mobile app for live Rangers baseball. You can follow the Rangers with game day, live game video highlights, radio broadcast, StatCast, where you could find that kind of information on your own and scream at the TV, news, and more. Download MLB.com at bat today. We prefer the smiles and the waves to the TV, though.
It's a pretty good balloon dog. Is that I assume dog, right?
I would go with dog on that, yeah. Gonna want to run some heat there past Gallo for a strike. The Rangers have walked 7 times in this one today. Their season high is 8 walks in a game. It goes back to a point we have made more than once on this homestand, though. They have really cut down on chasing pitches outside the zone. And of course, that had clearly become a scouting report for opposing teams. Make the Rangers chase because they will, and they were striking out a lot. Strikeouts have been way down. Walks have been up. And then the other side of that is that the Rangers pitching staff has eliminated so many walks allowed on their end.
That's been a big part of it. We saw some real frustration from Doug Brocail, the pitching coach here early on, as the walks were kind of getting away from the Rangers pitchers, but they have absolutely corrected things here lately and has been a big contributor to the win streak.
As we say all that, Gallo strikes out, 1 away in the 7th inning. All right, time for us to take a Chevy game break. Let's send it back again to John Radigan. Yes, they are. Thanks, John. Well, normally there's a reception when we get there for John Radigan. There's a pop-up near second base, and this one handled by Hernandez. Pardon me, the shortstop Galvis. 2 away.
One thing we failed to mention here with Joaquin Benoit, of course, Rangers fans, longtime Rangers fans, certainly familiar with him. Came through the Rangers system, originally signed, not too many of these guys around, in 1996. And been with the Rangers through 2008. He came through the system as a starter, eventually settled into the bullpen. Had a really nice year for the Rangers in 2007, his age 29 season, where he pitched in 70 games. So a 2.85 ERA, but he has done it for a while now. 16 seasons in the big leagues for Joaquin Benoit. Played with him years ago when he's first trying to kind of still get it going a little bit. Spent some time with him in 2002 and 2003, and you can see a little bit of that age in that beard.
He can still bring it though, man. I mean, he's still upper 90s. One and one to Delano DeShields, who's 0 for 3 so far this afternoon. So Benoit's the 4th pitcher of the day. Pivetta started, went 4 2/3. Joely Rodriguez struggled through 2/3 of an inning. And then Pat Neshek got 2/3 of an inning in there of his own. DeShields in a hole, a ball, and 2 strikes. This is the final game of this series. Rangers trying to sweep the Phillies. Also trying to finish off a perfect homestand. There's a swing and a miss. DeShields down on strikes. Couple of Ks in the inning for Joaquin Benoit. We'll go to the 8th this afternoon at Globe Life Park. Rangers lead by 6. Summary. There you see it. 8-2 Rangers leading a big 5-run 5th inning. Martin Perez, I love the fact that on the stat line, first thing you see, 0 walks. career high 8 strikeouts.
And that's important to him, and he has talked about filling up the strike zone a little bit more, keeping those walks down, getting deeper in games has been a goal for him. He has to be pleased with the 7 innings pitched. Ryan Ruiz stepping up big and an opportunity to play today. The big home run, but a couple of walks as well. Really good at-bats all the way around in his 4 that he had today, 4 plate appearances for Ryan Ruiz. So, yes, so far so good here through 7. Very nice job by the Rangers, both sides of the ball.
Yeah, Ryan Ruiz, big day at the plate. 8th inning now. And Alex Claudio has come on for Martin Perez.
And Claudio last pitched the first game of the series. He threw an inning and threw just 10 pitches. He's only thrown once now in the last 6 days. So Jeff Bannister, first of all, very comfortable with both lefties and righties here for Claudio, but just also very comfortable giving him the ball late in the game, whether this was a 2 or 3 run lead or a 6 run lead like it is now.
Because he gets swings like that.
Yeah.
0-2.
It's my favorite pitch on the staff, without a doubt. There's some great stuff. We see some really cool stuff. What these guys have, the Yu Darvish slider, and then of course you have the Jose Leclerc with the cut changeup's a pretty cool one. But this one right here is my favorite. Watching him turn over that changeup and just watching righties just kind of make fools of themselves, quite honestly. When he locates it well and he gets that really good movement, it is a really, really tough pitch for righties to stay back on.
It's 0-2. And another bad swing, but Freddie Galvis stays alive.
It's not like he a wiffle ball bat there or something. He hit that ball twice.
Yes, he did. He hit it on the follow through the second time. Now, would you throw it again?
Yes. Now I'll tell you. So I pitched like this toward the end of my career. Tried to do exactly what Alex is doing and become a sidearm lefty. And I would just change up after change up after change up. And then what's so great about it, you can pop that fastball in, and we've seen him do it multiple times.
Oh. So right back to the mound. Nice snare by Claudio, and he'll take care of Galvis one away.
Smile a little bit after that play because it's all about reaction for pitchers, and yeah, why not? You thought you had a base hit, Freddie, but you do not. That's a nice play by Alex. And you know, Dave, you talked about this a lot, how great left-handed pitchers are and how athletic they are. Some of the best athletes on the field.
I do say that all the time.
Alex proving you right once again.
Cesar Hernandez. Till the age, I don't know, 15, 16, I would say, yeah. Pitchers are probably the best athletes on the field. Probably the shortstop when they're not pitching. Yeah. And then things start to change a little bit. Hernandez hitless so far today. The Rangers have done a really good job with the Phillies leadoff man. Claudio digs in.
Yeah.
There's a swing and a miss. Strike 3. Not fair.
73 miles an hour and turn it over. And for a right-handed hitter, it looks good coming in. But you can't stay back. And it's when he locates it, tracking the movement is just so difficult. Ball actually finished even down and in, cut a little bit on him. Fun pitch to watch.
So Claudio, 2 quick outs. And then we'll go after Odubel Herrera. He's thrown 7 pitches this inning, and all 7 have been strikes. Herrera's hitless in 3 tries, and he fouls one right to the backstop for strike 1. Goes back to what we were talking about maybe last half inning. So the adjustments the offense has made for the Rangers, not chasing pitches, drawing walks, not striking out as much, and then the changes the pitching staff has made, which is just attacking the strike zone. No walks today for Martin Perez, and there's a first ball issued by Claudio in this 8th inning. He runs on 9 hits today for the Rangers. They've had 26 hits combined the last 2 games. Phillies 2 runs on 5 hits and the 1-1. That's fouled away. Well, the Phillies came in today at 14-23, 9 games under 500, but 10 back in the National League East, where the Washington Nationals have the best record in the National League at 25-14. Rangers started play today a game over 500 for the first time this year, but 8 out in the West, back of the Houston Astros, who have the best record in all of baseball. The 1-2. Tapper foul again. Well, how about this though? We're late May now. I think technically you could call it late May, past the midpoint anyway. You have the Twins leading their division, the Brewers leading the National League Central, and the Rockies in first place out of the National League West. It's not exactly how the prognosticators would have seen it.
Nope, without a doubt, and it's still early in the season, but there have been some good things happening for some teams that was unexpected. And the Rockies, I think, are absolutely one of those. The Yankees have been better, I think, than most people expected. And it becomes now, okay, well, will they be able to hang in there for a lot of these teams? Or are they at the point now where their front offices are thinking, you know what, maybe we're going to make some additions when originally you weren't sure if there were teams that were going to be buyers as we get a little bit closer to the deadline?
Another strikeout for Alex Claudio. Perfect 8th inning for the right-hander. Sends us to the last of the 8th this afternoon with the Rangers leading by 6. Rangers leading as we go to the bottom of the 8th, and Rangers fans join Fox Sports and celebrate the career of Pudge Rodriguez. See the number 7 retirement ceremony on August 12th. You can get a special ticket package including tickets to 7 games, including the special retirement nights game right now. So go to TexasRangers.com/Pudge to get your seats to witness history. Big summer for Devon Rodriguez and the Rangers. And that's going to be a lot of fun.
Big moment for him, no doubt, and one and an honor that is well deserved. We certainly look forward to seeing that this summer. We had that nice hallway when we walked down to Jeff Bannister's office every day for the media meeting, and they have pictures of all the greats that are hanging on the walls, and it's kind of like a hallway of horrors for me because I walk down and I'm like, oh yeah, Ruben Sierra, couldn't get him out. There's Juan Gonzalez, that was a nightmare at bat for me, and there's Pudge, and I'm just like, hey, it's nice that there were so many great Rangers, but it's bringing back some bad memories for me every single time I walk down that hallway. I'm going to start looking to the right and looking at the other side.
Well, here we go in the bottom of the 8th, and Chu takes a strike. 1-2 the count. Mark Leiter Jr. saw him earlier in this series, getting another appearance, 6th of the year.
He's the guy that has the deepest repertoire of any reliever. When you start to look at his pitch usage, he's got the fastball. It's around 91 miles an hour. Slider, we'll see around 83. Throws a cutter as well, 88. Curveball, changeup, and split finger are all listed as pitches for Mark Leiter Jr. Yeah, you think? We talk about simplifying things when you go into the bullpen and simplifying your repertoire. You'll run into a lot of pitchers that, you know, they either didn't have that third pitch as a starter, and that's why they ended up in the bullpen, or they eliminate one and really get down to two. You know, if you're a guy like Mariano or even Brad Ziegler, where you throw a lot of two, so you get maybe down to one pitch that you throw predominantly, but a little bit of a different case here for Mark Leiter Jr.
Like it's true to bounce out to second. Now Andrews, and Elvis rolls to third. High hop there for Blanco. 2 away. Now the Rangers with a 6-run lead here in the bottom of the 8th inning. And how about this little observation? When we woke up today, Rangers above 500. First time that we've been able to say that all season. Felt pretty good. And you realize that it's also sort of the product of overcoming what was a tough start for this team, a really tough start. You look back to last year, and last year, 42 games in, or rather 41 games in, the Rangers were 22-19 versus 21-20 this year. So they were a game better last year, went on to win 95 games, most in the American League, first time in franchise history. So it's just an interesting note for those who are a little discouraged at the way the season has started. They're basically right on track with where they were last year.
Well, I think a lot of times, and it's okay, this is what fans do. Like, you're so invested in every single game that team gets off to a bad start, has a bad couple of weeks, a little bit of panic sets in, a little bit of frustration. It happens outside the clubhouse. It doesn't happen inside the clubhouse, especially for guys that have been around. They've done this for a long time. They know slow and steady. They know it's a long season. Those are the things that matter. Certainly that man right there is never going to panic. And he's talked about in those meetings when we talked to him before games about where the team record is. And I don't know how many back people ask him. I don't know. You know, like you said, maybe joking around a little bit, but just not a big deal to the guys in uniform.
Well, a quick bottom of the 8th. We go to the 9th. Rangers try to finish off their 9th straight win.
Homestand and a 9-game winning streak, and what a start to May it has been for your Texas Rangers. After the game, we bring you a complete post-game wrap-up called Rangers Live, presented by Frontier Communications. John Radigan here. Tom Grieve will join me. It's a thrill to have Tom on the set with us. We'll bring you all the post-game reaction. We will also show you what's happened in other games around baseball. We'll bring you the big story of the day, and of course post-game from Jeff Bannister, all the players. Dave and CJ will weigh in too. It's the post-game edition of Rangers Live, presented by Frontier Communications, coming right after the game, guys.
Right on. Thanks, John. And here we go now, 9th inning. Jeremy Jeffress is coming on to try and finish this one off. His 21st appearance out of the bullpen. And he'll get the 3, 4, and 5 hitters from Philadelphia. Jeffress replacing Alex Claudio, who was great in the 8th inning. A couple of strikeouts for Claudio in his one perfect inning. Martin Perez went 7 strong today. Aaron Altair rolls one between third and short. That's a base hit for the Phillies left fielder. Well, now right fielder.
First baseman Tommy Joseph.
Now Saturday on Fox from coast to coast. It's an evening of Major League Baseball. The Rangers take on Miguel Cabrera and the Tigers. First pitch Saturday, 6 o'clock on Fox. That is the big game. Here's Tommy Joseph now. Joseph shoots one out to right center field, slicing away out there toward the bullpen, and that one is gone. A 2-run homer for Tommy Joseph, and it's an 8-4 game.
We've talked about it already a bunch today, but it is blatantly obvious that the ball is carrying out well to right field, and all of a sudden for the Philadelphia Phillies coming to life here in the 9th inning, just 2 batters in against Jeremy Jeffress, and we know it's a lot of 2-seam fastballs and good movement. This actually was not a terrible pitch at all. Robinson Trinos did not move his glove that much, and the ball was down, and that's one more I think where you credit Tommy Joseph for a good at bat and coming through in a big spot right there.
Well, here comes Doug Brocail, and Matt Bush quickly up to loosen up in the bullpen. So this conversation, part to buy some time for Matt Bush, and part just to maybe recalibrate Jeremy Jeffress. Base hit to Altair, home run to Tommy Joseph. That was quick. Just 3 pitches. Rangers built their lead, 5 runs in the 5th, 3 runs in the 6th today, 8 runs total on 9 hits. Andres Blanco, former Ranger, and he takes one up and away. Blanco had a hit in the 7th inning. That was to lead off the inning, but stayed there. A couple of strikeouts made for a quiet top of the 7th. 2-0.
See Jeffress still with the really good movement. I mean, he's always had it. The fastball and the changeup running really well today. This one's just finishing off the plate a little bit, and after 2 base hits now all of a sudden finds himself down in the count. 2-0.
Rangers fans no doubt remember Blanco here in 2010, 2011. A slightly bigger contributor in 2010. And he appeared in some 68 games that year. Just a little bit less frequently in 2011, and that one turns him off the plate. Loosen a guy up a little.
Yeah, a lot of times as a lefty too, you're kind of leaning out against Jeremy Jeffress because you know so many pitches are kind of running away from you, and you saw that hip start to open up a little bit, and then a quick flinch to try to get it closed and get out of the way of that inside pitch from Jeffress.
The 3-1 pitch, and that one sent out to center field. Playable for Hoying, 1 away in the 9th inning. Well, I mentioned earlier the Rangers started this homestand 2 games against San Diego, won both of them. Then Oakland came in and they swept the A's in that 3-game series. Now the Rangers are 2 outs away from making it a sweep of the Phillies and an 8-0 homestand. And only one other occasion in franchise history Well, the Rangers have had a homestand of 7 or more games and won them all. And that was in 2005. This ball hit out toward left field. The Shields racing toward the corner, reaches out, goes into a slide, and did not get that cleanly. And it is a fair ball into second. And stopping there is Kelly. We'll see how that one is scored.
I'm sure
a double.
I'm sure it will be a double because Delino, first of all, ran a long way and looked like he was about to make a great catch, and he actually disappeared from our view, and he got the glove on it, and as he was sliding, it just popped out. He had it right there, and you see it, and it just, wow. You don't see that too often where nothing actually caused that ball to pop out of his glove. He just could not keep the glove closed because it looked like he had it, and he had control of it. During that slide, though, it popped out, and that's going to bring Jeff Bannister out of the dugout.
Well, it creates a spot now where it suddenly is a save situation, and so there's the signal. Matt Bush is going to come out, and he will try to save this 8-4 Rangers lead. Back with Bush in a moment. All of a sudden for Matt Bush, who comes out of the bullpen here. Bush appearing for the 15th time this season, and he's been really good.
Tying run on deck, right? For save, that's would be run number 7, right? So 8-4, so actually not a save opportunity, right?
You're a man at
Check
second.
me. Yep, that would
So
be
that's
run number 5,
6. No, you're right. You're right.
He getting to Dave Raymond here today.
Hey.
Your winning streak might be over of being awesome in the booth, but it does happen. But almost, and
We'll
I think
be back tomorrow.
we have seen this from Jeff Bannister in the past, where he doesn't wait around. Like you look at Matt Bush, and without a doubt, he's the closer now. He fills that closer role, but he also comes out of, kind of the setup role. That's what he's done here with the Texas Rangers. And so I've seen this now a couple of times where we've seen Matt Bush come in, and it's a non-save situation. It's one batter away or one more guy getting on away, but Banny hasn't waited around, and the Rangers are near the bottom in Major League Baseball when it comes to total saves, and that's all right. It is about winning games, and so it's kind of almost nice to see Jeff Bannister not kind of be a slave to the save. And sorry for rhyming it there, that wasn't intended, but you know what I mean. There are managers that will only use their closers in save situations, and they'll almost wait for that extra runner to get on base to make it a save situation. But Jeff Bannister's not going to wait around. He wants to go to Matt Bush right away and get this thing finished, and even maybe take a little bit of the pressure off, as opposed to that tying run being on deck. He's got a little bit of wiggle room here with the 4-run lead. The only reason I know that rule so well is because I learned the hard way one time coming in a 3-run game, thinking with 2 outs, thinking I was going to get a save.
Oh,
but you do not. Tying run, you have to start the inning fresh or with no outs for the 3-run rule to apply. After that, when it comes to save, the tying run has to be on deck
Well,
when
of course.
you enter the game.
You could just pitch the last 3 innings of the game.
Done that, buddy.
Yeah.
3 times. I got 3 of those actually.
You're
That's
old
the,
school.
That's the way I got my saves.
Broken bat roller, first base side, and a good feed to Bush. 2 out.
And that rule also can be a little ridiculous because if the game's 15-2, but you throw the last 3 innings of the game, you get a save. So I had one of those. I don't know if it was 15-1, but it was a blowout.
You got to take those where you can get them.
Without a doubt. First one I got, surprised it was not. Through 3 innings in a 3-1 game. That sounds like something from like 1965. But yeah, our closer was down. Our setup man was down. I threw all 3 innings. It's desperate times for that bullpen. All right, let's see what this guy can do.
Lock it down. Well, Bush, 1 out away from finishing this thing off. That fouls away strike 1. Andrew Knapp got a double in the 5th inning. 1 for 3. And over 35,000 here today. Weather day. A lot of youngsters out early. One strike pitch. Just missed. Breaking ball from Bush off the outside corner.
And what I like about this too, I think, for Jeff Bannister is that he doesn't allow Matt Bush to get into that mind of save situation only. Right, that can be a little bit of a trap sometimes for a closer, and then all of a sudden they get thrown out of sorts when it's not a save situation.
Strike 2. Well, he's used Bush a number of times since Bush took over the closer spot in games where they weren't even close to a safe spot to get him work and to finish games up. So, and Bush has shown total composure no matter the situation. Trying to make it a 9-game winning streak. And the 1-2. This one hit on 1 hop to short. Long throw, Andrus, and it is over. Rangers have won 9 straight. And for just the 2nd time in franchise history, they sweep a homestand of 8 games. Unbelievable. 8-4 our final score this afternoon.
Well, the Rangers are red hot right now. No 2 ways about it. And doing it every which way, whether it means coming back late in the game with big heroics, really good 2-out scoring, which we have seen from them, but also the rotation has been really good. The bullpen has been really good. Everything going right for the Rangers during this streak. It has been a fantastic run, and they'll try to continue it outside of Globe Life Park as we head to Detroit after this.
Yeah, win streak that started in San Diego and now heads to Detroit later today. John Radigan and Tom Grieve, they're going to be back momentarily to talk about the great outing today by Martin Perez. Of course, all the player reaction analysis of today's game. We're going to come back here, talk about that 5-run explosion in the 5th inning. Rangers make it 9 straight. Stay with us. For CJ Nikowski, Emily Jones, and our entire crew, I'm Dave Raymond, inviting you to stay with us. Rangers Live postgame show starts right after this.